Alrighty guys, it has been a while, but we are back. Christmas period was a fruitful one for many of us in the community. Oh, my dog is barking. But we are finally back and we are playing Shadowdark. We have 4 players today, 3 of which were here for the last session. Was it 3 or 2? 3?
I think it was
Yeah,
3 of us.
Yeah, 3 of you. But we now have 4 players for this session, and we've left things off on a very interesting point. The players in the first session were attacked on the roads as caravan guards. The attackers, no other than greenskins, orcs and goblins. Well, we're looking for slaves. And they got them. The greenskins managed to win, killing a good number of the men in the caravan and taking the players as prisoners back to their prison. The first session was the day-to-day life of these prisoners, being forced to work, and more specifically, repair weapons and armor that were provided by the orcs, and are being used by the orcs for their continued activities. As the session began to draw a close, the party created a daring opportunity to escape, a plan that they've put into action. And this is where we jump back in. In the moment before you guys sought to act, the orcs came back elated, celebrating a recent triumph. They defeated another caravan, and they have brought back with them many more prisoners. These prisoners were brought in and ushered into their cages, along with the others who were there. Realizing that much drink would follow, Norman, Oswald, and Isabel took action and defeated the orc guards who were placed to watch them. You've managed to acquire a bit of gear, but you're now rushing around trying to prepare for what's next. Amongst the prisoners who have come in, one of them will be joining the party today. Duncan, this is not your first rodeo. In a greenskin prison, you tried to escape a smaller compound. This must have been a few weeks ago, in game. And out of game too, actually. But you now find yourself here. You've been dragged into this much larger compound by a hefty amount of orcs, and you seem to have been brought along with the orc war party. They see you as too much of a problem to have where they had you before, so they've brought you here, this bastion of a compound. And as we start the session, you watch as the prisoners begin to fight back. A couple of them manage to kill the orc guards stationed to watch you, and you realise, Duncan, that you may now have another opportunity to escape. But you are approaching your 3 strikes, Duncan, and sooner or later, you're going to be out. So let's start with stating the scene that is ahead, and where we actually ended the cliffhanger last week. At the end of last session, the orcs were down and you guys had regrouped. Isabel was running down the corridor, assumedly going to the workshop to see if she could acquire anything that could be useful in what is going to come. And as you got to your point, you all hear in unison the sound of chains that are being moved along a, almost like a conveyor belt, right? Some sort of like system, some sort of mechanical system. And you can hear the sound of the portcullis being raised, the same portcullis that keeps this place locked. What this means, orcs are coming. So, I'd like you guys to please, for the first time this session, click on your tokens and roll initiative for me. Just anybody who's watching the stream, I'm having issues with allergies at the moment, so that's why I look like I've been punched in the face. I've got like I don't know what it is, to be honest, but yeah, it's just allergy issues. Alright, let me just post this. You guys have rolled, fantastic, thank you. Ooh.
Oh, that makes me very happy.
How did I do that? How did I do that? Look at that. Look at that. 1-1. Alright.
The gods are on our sides today, boys.
Okay. So, Isabel. You've managed to get around the corner. You've got a torch in hand. You pulled it from the wall on your previous turn of movement. What would you like to do?
Are we supposed to be on the map right now, or?
You are, and you're not, are you? So let me bring you guys to the screen. And let me direct you to your, relatively speaking, your locations. I'm sure you'll find where you are from there. Have you found your token, Isabel?
Yep, I see my token. It didn't bring the initiative over, though.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a pity. This is a genuine issue of Roll20. I will fix that whilst you tell me what you want to do.
I want to move into the workshop.
Okay. Feel free to move. You've got 6 squares that you can move up to. Okay. You should now be able to see your initiatives, guys. I've just started adding them in.
Yes, they're visible.
Yep.
Terrific.
And then I want to search through these crates to see if I can find any weapons.
Cool. So you start sifting and sorting through the various crates and barrels. A couple of them are empty, and a couple of them have slag, iron, and metal that you guys would need to sharpen to really have any use. But there are a number of things that you do find. This is room 13. Amongst them, you find the following: 2 hand axes, a short sword, 3 javelins, and 6 daggers. They've been put in the chat.
Does it take a turn to grab each one of those, or an action?
I'd say you can just collect as many as you can carry with an action.
Okay, I'm gonna take a short sword, a dagger, and a javelin.
Cool. So yeah, that does require action. You do still have a little bit more movement. So do you want to end your turn? I do need the pace to be a bit quicker, Gia.
Sorry, yeah, end my turn, I thought.
Okay. Yeah, it's important you guys let me know that you've done with your turns. I can't mind read. But Oswald, over to you. I will say,
Yes,
before you do anything, be aware the orcs are coming through the gate, and they are able to see down the corridor. They have night vision, so they're able to probably see to the south of you. This kind of space here, they could probably see that quite easily.
Okay. Do I know in which direction Isabel went?
Yes, she went down the corridor to the left, or on the map west.
So that way, right? Yeah.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, you guys are pretty much back to back on turns, so if you guys want to work together or act together, I don't really mind.
Yeah. First thing on this list is I think we need to probably hide that body. I think there's another one in the room already.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Yes,
guys,
we dragged another one into the cage to the left.
you have killed them, but you didn't do it with bludgeoning weapons, so there is blood on the floor. That does matter.
I don't think we can hide this. I think we need to make our way out of here as soon as possible.
All right. I'm moving this one up to
This
you.
torch over here. Is that detachable from the wall? Could I pick it up?
It is, but as I said, you would be running through the center of the room, and there would be a very high chance that you'd be spotted.
Yes.
Maybe we just hide in one of like one of these little nooks here and hope that they just walk past us and go and immediately investigate the orc over here.
You could try and leap over to the other side of the room very quickly. It would require a dex check. You would have to beat a DC. If you do, orcs will be none the wiser.
I think I'll stick with Norman's plan to attempt to hide. Well, do we even fit in here?
No, they're alcoves.
Ah.
So you probably could fit in there, but you would be incredibly vulnerable. If the orcs realized that you were in there, you would be as good as dead. They would have advantage on their attacks, and it would probably require an action just for you to get out of there.
That makes sense. Norman, what do you say? Shall we just attempt to make a run for it?
I think that's our only option at this point.
Remember, there are people in the northern room. A lot of them seem to be afraid, but some of them are standing out and just kind of glaring at you guys, unsure of what to do.
Maybe we just call for a full jailbreak.
Yeah, if we just remain in this room here, we're probably dead.
Should we tell the rest of these guys just to go for a full jailbreak to cause as much chaos as possible, and try to make it out that way?
I think
No.
the more of us that are moving, the more of us that might probably make it out. The more people we're with, the bigger our chances.
Let's just start like waving everybody who can who wants to make it out of here. Just try to be like, come on, they're coming. Like,
So you guys move into the room and start saying that, yeah?
yeah, I feel like, yeah,
calling them to leave this room is basically a death trap if we remain.
But they'll kill us! We can't leave! Says John.
They'll kill you. Look at what we did. You are all part of this now. I point to the orc body. They will kill you if you stay here.
I didn't kill anyone! I don't want to die!
You
I'd
will
rather
die
be a
if you
slave than
stay
be
here
dead.
regardless. You will die if you stay here regardless. They will eventually work you to death. This is our only chance to get out.
The other person says, I don't know if I can leave. I've got a bad leg. Other people seem to be... Some people seem to be kind of nodding and understanding what you're saying. Roll me a charisma check.
Oh, just me?
Just you.
Okay.
You were making the major part of the argument.
Alrighty. And can luck points can be spent after the roll, yes?
That is correct.
Okay. Oh, let's click on Norman and fuck. I'm gonna burn a luck point.
Cool. 11.
At least we got some people with that, I think.
A couple of people do step forward, willing to help. A lot of people remain in their cages, fearful of the Orc's retribution. Amongst them, I imagine, you are involved, Duncan. How do you respond to what you are hearing right now? What do you say and what do you do?
Yes, I was looking for a good opening.
Here it is.
Duncan sort of begrudgingly gives palms the iron bars of his cage and sort of speaks out through gritted teeth. I'd love to escape, but these bars are made of solid iron, and I can't lift them on my own. Get me out of here, spitheads. He's sort of sounding very impatient with their indecisiveness.
So guys, you managed to keep all of the cell doors open, but it seems that a couple of them are still closed. It seems Orc engineering is just not as good as it used to be. Perhaps one of you can fix it. Maybe Duncan can fix it, but it needs to be lifted.
Oh.
Could I make my way there between the...
Yeah.
Alright, in that case, I want to see if I can... Like, they were lifted originally with this sort of...
It was over
lever
here.
System on the wall, but that doesn't
Yeah,
seem to affect
so-
this cage, right?
Yeah, so every cage has a chain, and all the chains go over to this like master position where they can all be pulled at once. But it seems the chain for Duncan's one has been caught up in one of the hinge points on the ceiling, and it's got stuck there.
Can I
And-
attempt
yeah.
to lift the chain above his cage manually?
Yes, it does require a strength check. And it's very difficult for Duncan to do in his position, because he's not able to use his full body strength, being crammed in this very tight cage. It is like 5 feet tall, this cage, so you have to like hunch down, crouch down the whole time. It's very uncomfortable and unpleasant.
And could I attempt pulling the chain, or do I have to wait until my next crawling round?
I would say you need to wait until your next crawling round. But you are there, you are, you know, obviously ready to do what is needed.
If that's the case, may I, if I may,
Yeah.
take my action to, as best as I can, attempt to start lifting
Yeah.
the mechanism from within?
Yeah, you can roll me a strength check, and this will go
Right.
towards the challenge.
I have grit, I imagine that applies here.
Yeah, you have advantage.
Yep, alright, here's the first one. Alright, and here's
16.
the second one.
And a 3, so a natural 1. So that's a 16 on grit, which unfortunately is not high enough to beat the DC, but this does go towards the challenge. I'm sure you can imagine the DC is 18, it's the toughest DC.
Alright, well, that's me.
So as you start trying to lift up, you know, you're hooking your fingers into the in between the bars of this cage, and they are very kind of, you know, narrow and together. There isn't much space for your hands or fingers. You can't actually put your fist through one of the holes. That's how kind of narrow they are. And you're just trying to pull them up. At this point, guys, you now hear movement as orcs are moving down the corridor. You're not too sure whether they are aware of what has transpired, but you know that they are now getting close. It's now back to the top of the round, and it's over to Isabel.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get out of this room.
Okay. You got 2 torches. you got 2 torches. Where did the second one come from? I think it was inside the room, right? Yeah.
It's when I go to select my character and there's a torch in the thing.
Yeah. Okay. Well. No. Leave that one. There we go. There we go. Okay. You good? Yeah. Go on. Go on. Go on. There you go. Alrighty. So, Isabel, you come around the corner, and suddenly, I mean, as soon as you come around the corner, you see ahead orcs, and I want you. Oh, actually, no. I mean, you've got just roll me a d20. Roll me a d20. No bonuses, no debuffs, just a d20. Interesting. So, you come around a corner, and immediately, one of the orcs points at you and says, "What are you doing? Grabber!" What do you want to do?
I dash, so I'm out of action, so I have to pass my turn. But I'll just say fuck.
The rest of you guys hear that. The orcs are close, probably within 30 feet. And it's over to Oswald.
Yes, I want to yank this chain open to get Duncan out so we can all make our escape.
Yeah, roll me a strength check. And remember, because Duncan has now already rolled a check, your check is fantastic. And you work together, unified. You lift open this cage, and Duncan, as a free, I'm just going to give it to you for free. You just roll out. You pop it down. Your action has been spent, but you still have movement, Oswald. Do you want to reposition?
Yes, I just want to make my way to the place I was before.
I say get against the wall, man. Try to hope that they go after Isabel and just ignore what's going on in the room.
That makes a lot of sense. Do you say that? Well, I already moved myself, so it's up to Loki to decide whether I can actually like move here or something.
Do you have any more movement? 5, 10, 15, 20. Yeah, sure. I imagine
Alright,
he says that off the cuff, and you're like, sure, good idea. And you come around the corner.
So I moved to the side to be out of the line of sight of any passing orcs.
Yeah, and it's worth mentioning, like, you know, as far as you're concerned, you might have a high opinion of yourself, but you are a fresh adventurer. You haven't really seen the world. You're not in the army. Tactics and strategy is new to you. And something that you are learning, I imagine. Norman.
I'm going to... at this point here, I'm going to grab the orc body, and I know it's going to leave a blood trail on the floor, but won't be as conspicuous if I pull him over to the side alongside Brother Oswald there.
Okay, so you drag him over. It does cost you probably around 10 feet of your movement to do that.
5, 10. Alright. Okay. I'm also gonna grab his club off the ground there.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to get up against the wall with Brother Oswald over here.
Fantastic. Just for reference, guys, the orc clubs are equivalent to maces in Shadowdark, which means they do a d6 points of damage.
Okay.
I think. It's been a while.
Maces.
Let me scroll up for a second.
Yeah, you were right. Yep, maces do a d6.
Yeah, I'm just checking to see because I did say it was a club. So I'm very quickly looking to see if there is actually any attacks from any of the naughty boys. I don't really see anything. Yeah, it's just okay, never mind. It is a D4. It is a club. My apologies. It's not a mace. Yeah, I was just checking to see what damage I actually did against you guys last session, and it was a D4 with the orc clubs. So yeah, it is I guess it makes sense. They're not trying to kill you guys; they're just trying to bludgeon you. You know, so they don't want a weapon that's too foul and unforgiving. But anyway, yeah, you've got an orc club, a D4 weapon. That's the end of your turn. Duncan, what do you want to do? You're out of the cage.
Okay. Can I see a club on the ground over near this orc to the left of the screen?
I imagine it would be where he was down. He would have dropped it as he was being strangled, and I'm having difficulty, but I think it's in the room. I think it would cost you 10 feet of your movement. Let's say 15 actually, because you've also got to reach down and pick it up. 15 feet of your movement to pick it up.
All right, so up to here. Grab it, I'd imagine.
Yep.
That's 15.
Yeah.
And then duck back over here, even though my sense of heroism is telling me to get out there and help Isabel. That doesn't seem like the smart Shadowdark thing to do.
Yeah.
So yep, that's me good.
The orcs now move out and start looking at what's going on. I'm going to roll a d20 for the orcs to see how perceptive they are in this situation. One of them turns right and the other one now continues on. It's going to dash. And its turn here. Whilst this one is going to slowly move towards the room. And whilst he doesn't say anything, you can hear his footsteps. I want to know whether he can hear the three of you. Roll me a dex check, each of you, as you're going to now roll a stealth challenge, please.
Fuck.
Good one, fellas.
You're not sure yet whether he does or does not know, but he is getting closer and closer. Round 3, Isabel. The orc is approaching, club in hand, and you are equipped. What do you
Throw
want
the
to do?
javelin at him.
Go for it. It hits. Suddenly, a yell of pain comes from further afield, gents, and you can hear an orc screaming. The other orc, you hear a sudden
I'm gonna draw my sword and end my turn.
Fantastic. Oswald.
I want to draw my dagger, and is it possible for me to reach this square by moving through Norman?
Yeah, you can move past Norman. You can move around him. He's not 5 feet wide.
Okay, so in that case, I want to grab the torch. So if we do make our escape, we have a light
Yep.
source.
Good stuff. So
Because
you
I
take
have
it.
no idea what Gia has.
You take it off the wall.
Yeah, so I grab it off the sconce or whatever it's in.
Over to Norman.
Alrighty.
An orc is approaching.
An orc is approaching. He. All right. Let's see here. I am
Or he-
going to kind of step just onto the body of the deceased orc and kind of just like wait at the edge over here. And can I just wait for the orc to peer around the corner and then try to and as soon as I see him, can I just jump on him and start beating him with the club?
In crawling rounds, you don't have reactions. In
Okay.
Shadowdark, you don't have reactions. So, I mean, he is quite close to the corner now. You could leap out and attack him if you wished.
All right, then that's what I'm going to do.
Cool. So you jump out, rush forward, and you go for an attack.
All right. I don't have the club set up, so I'm just gonna roll a d20 plus 4, and then I'll just roll for the hit damage after.
Sure. If you can set up a club for me once your turn is over, I'd really appreciate that, because it looks cooler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when you're ready.
Oh wait.
This is why it's good to have a club set up.
Yeah. I was trying to get that done.
You can do it during other players' turns. Just roll a d20, add your strength.
Yep.
There we go.
Alright.
That hits, and it's a d4 points of damage. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
D4.
There we go.
Why is it a +4?
I have +2 strength and both my
You don't.
talents.
You don't add strength to your damage. Remember.
Oh, you don't?
I know it's been a few weeks, but in Shadowdark you do not add strength or dexterity to damage. It's only to hit.
Okay.
And same with monsters.
Okay.
Monsters only do the weapon dice. They don't do any additional damage unless it's a specific type of monster, like a bugbear or something.
Okay.
So it would be
Alright.
1 point of damage. You do have talents, but I'm pretty sure the weapon mastery is with a specific type of weapon.
Yeah.
1 sec. Let me check the ranger PDF. Yeah, but let's ranger talents. +1 to melee or ranged attacks and damage. So that would be.
It says damage.
Yes, it says damage
So
on it.
so
that-
so,
that
so it would be
2
2 points of damage.
Yeah. and
rather
then
than 5.
additional 2 points of damage. Yeah.
Very, very good. Yeah, guys, I'm sure I don't have to repeat this. Make sure you know what your characters do. That's very simple. Anyway, Norman, so you come around the corner, and what do you do? How do you attack? You see the orc in front of you. He is a bit alerted by your presence as you charge up to him.
I'm going to try to hit him in the face and try to go for the jaw. Try to stun him a bit.
Yeah.
If I can.
Yeah, you knock him in the side of the face, and a couple of his teeth come out. He looks back, and he now gets ready to swing at you. I imagine it's the end of your turn. You've done everything
Yep.
you can do. Duncan, what do you want to do?
Alright. I'm going to follow suit. 5, 10, 15, 20. Running out to mulg this guy. I don't need to target anything. Let's go. I've set up my weapon already.
Very good.
Boom. 13.
13 misses. He brings up his shield and blocks your attack.
Curses.
I like how quick you were with your turn. I'm going to give you a luck point. If you want to re-roll, you can. Otherwise, you can keep it for later.
Well, I mean, it's probably greedy of me, but I'm Duncan's not that strategic. He'll try and go for the re-roll.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I deserve. All right. So with that, I move 20, 25. Get out of the way. Look down that hallway to see her there. Okay, that's me done.
Yeah, so you come, I imagine, flying by this orc. You swing at him and continue on your trajectory, looking to get towards the exit. It's now the turn of the orcs. And both of them are still alive. This orc turns around, having been struck by a javelin. And he will now rage. Gets very angry. It's not like 5e rage for anybody who's played the edition. This is, he's immune to morale checks moving forward. And, well, for 3 rounds. And he does additional damage if he hits. It's very simple. He comes rushing up to Isabel, and he's going to go for a swing with his club. I want you to roll me a block check. The DC is 13. You bring up your, actually, you don't have a shield. Well, do you have a shield? You don't, do you?
I don't. I only have a short sword.
How do you defend yourself as he goes to swing it with you with the club?
Yeah, so I assume he's telegraphing really bad, so I just like parry aside all of his blows and I get ready to counterattack.
Fantastic. Yeah, guys, hello everybody in the chat. Does Shadowdark have half orcs and half elves? It does. Yeah, it does. The other orc over here, surrounded on both sides. Duncan, you were the last attacker, So it turns to you and goes for a swing. I'd like you to roll a block check. The DC is 13.
Huzzah!
That's a natural 20. So with that in mind, I would like you to come up with a creative thing that Duncan could do right now as a free action. So it could be anything from trying to trip the orc over, to bashing him on the head, to pushing him back. Anything that you can think of.
Duncan would, in a rather macabre display, would like to bend down, scoop up the guy's busted teeth, and throw them in his face whilst swearing at him in Orcish.
I love it. I'm gonna have a check for this, because actually I think it's Shadowdark. We don't really need a check, do we? So yeah, we'll go like this. So as he swings, you reach down, grab his teeth, and throw them up in his face. And one of the teeth actually goes into his eye, and he starts screaming about his eye and holding his face as he now swings at you, not paying attention to what he sees. The end of the orc's turn, and it's the start now of your turn, Isabel.
I'm going to counterattack the orc.
Go for it. How do you finish the orc?
Yeah, I just stab him through the throat, seeing an opening. I kick him off my sword, and then I'm gonna move in to help Dunk.
Sweet, yeah, you take Torch with you, obviously, but you head in now towards the other orc. And, yeah, one of the orcs is now dead, laying down on the ground. Over to Oswald.
Yes. I want to use the first 20 or so feet of my movement to get over here, to get sight.
Yeah.
And if I move over here, I can hit the orc, right?
Yes, you're within 5 feet.
Okay. Then I want to stab him with my dagger, which I assume fails.
The orc is fending off all 4 of you simultaneously, and the fact that he's also not really able to see, he's just swinging his weapon around, flailing. But it's the fear of this frantic, reckless strike actually hitting one of you that is the worry. One heavy swing from a monster like this, a creature like this, could take you guys down. Norman.
Isn't it us? Good. Hit him with club again.
Go for it. How do you kill the orc?
I am just going to repeatedly bash his skull in with the club like a maniac.
Brilliant. Yeah, you cave in his skull. His eyes pop out, and it's a pretty brutal display. But the orc is dead. The 4 of you now stand over the dead orc's body. And Duncan, you have been reunited with an old ally, Isabel.
Okay. Are we still in crawling rounds?
You guys can roleplay if you wish. And
Alright.
whoever wants to take initiative first and do something, I will just restart the turn order from that person, if that makes sense.
Well, if I may.
You may.
Duncan brings his free hand to his chest, as if gesturing to himself, looks to everyone else. Duncan Longshanks, let's get out of here. And he will move 5, 10, 15 over here to grab this torch, if I may.
I was gonna say before you move away, I'm gonna drop my torch real quick, and then I'm just gonna hug Duncan.
Oh, thanks, man.
You made it.
He looks at you a little funny. Oh, yeah, you too.
You two know each other?
Kind of.
Kinda. Well, it's
Oh, I
enough.
tried to free her and sort of got caught. Anyway, come on, we've no time.
Suddenly, you hear orc speech to the east. as if they're calling out to you guys, or specifically the orcs that went in. Who amongst you speaks Orcish?
I do.
I think, yeah, me and Duncan do.
You both do. Roll me a intelligence check to decipher what is being said. It's from a distance, and the orc language has different dialects. The only time you wouldn't have to roll is if you rolled a half orc. That's the only time you don't have to roll for that. But a 10 and a 19, you understand it as, what's the hold up? Are you coming back? That's what the orc is saying.
Oh, fuck.
And you this gives you the impression that the portcullis still might be up.
Duncan looks at the rest. I've got an idea. Any of you speak their language?
I do.
Right, come here. And he sort of walks over to the cusp here, waiting for you to follow suit.
Can I do that, Loki, or are we gonna
Yeah.
wait?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
All right. Duncan says, right, follow my lead. They're idiots. All right. Hey, sorry, he's trying to be hushed about this. I should have noted. He says, they're idiots, but they're not total idiots. All right. Then he calls out down the hall in Orcish. Yeah, Billy just had a bit of a nasty fart. Ain't that right, Billy? And he nudges you, Norman.
Oh, yeah.
You can roll me a charisma check. One for Duncan, and yeah, you know what, Norman, you roll as well.
All right, be kind to me. Oh.
Look you up and down. He says, "You're not green."
Oh wait, we're out in the.
Oh, thought they were further down.
They can see in the dark.
Duncan says, "We's is mountain orcs from the far north. Yeah. Ain't that right, Billy?"
He'd be right.
You see a javelin now fly towards you, Duncan. Roll me a block check.
Oh man.
Whoa! You move out of the way, it flies by over your head and misses Norman as well. Suddenly, you hear the sound of the portcullis slamming down. And you guys are trapped once again. You now hear the orcs screaming out for reinforcements, and you realise, guys, that these reinforcements are not going to be coming with clubs. They're probably going to be coming with their actual weapons, swords, spears, axes.
All right, we need to set up a barrier at this point here. Start grabbing weapons.
Screw that, we've got to run.
There might be another way around.
Exactly my thinking.
Isabel, what did you see back there?
An armory? That's about it.
Well, that's
door down
good
the
enough.
hallway, right.
Better than nothing.
Better than nothing. All right. I think that we should holler for the rest of the people who we got on board to come with us to run to the armory and start arming themselves.
Yep, so if you guys want to start moving your tokens now down the corridor to the west, if you want to interact with anything, or if you want to perform any actions, you may either ask me via voice, or if I'm speaking to somebody, you can type it in the chat. Like Isabel did whilst you guys were doing stuff.
I'm gonna grab my javelin on the way.
Okay.
If I may, I'm going to quickly run over here and grab the torch before continuing down the hall.
Right. So you guys do pass a doorway on the way down. You know this to be the Orcs guard room, where the Orcs go to rest and get food and drink and other provisions whilst
Can I
they
hear anything from within the room?
You don't hear anything, but roll me a wisdom check, a spot check, to see if there's anything, that kind of comes to mind, anything that you can see, smell, hear.
That's a torch.
That is a torch, but wisdom still applies. It's still a 10.
Oh, yes, sorry.
It's still your stats. You just rolled it on a torch for some reason. But
Yeah,
but
the torch is in my token, I believe. It's fine.
So, as I was about to say, the door, you don't hear anything. It seems to be quiet. The door does appear to be locked. Actually, let me set it to locked. Whilst Oswald is thinking about what...
I think we have the time to lockpick, so...
Doesn't one of us have the key?
I do have an ore key, but I assume that was for the shackles, right?
It might be for that too.
Be a skeleton key.
I'll have a quick look if the orc key I have in my inventory fits the door.
It does.
It does.
Unlock the door.
In that case, I want to open the door.
The door is unlocked.
I want to go in the room and check these barrels and stuff if there's anything useful in it quickly.
Okay. So, as you start sorting and sifting through, and looking to see if there's anything, relatively speaking, to
like basically
find...
ripping off the lids and just looking if there's anything useful. Not, I don't want to spend an hour carefully looking.
Yep, so there are 4 rations in this room. There are 2 water skins. These do matter in my campaign. I know in Shadowdark you just have rations and they don't really track any survivability stuff, but I think that's lame. So there are 4 rations, 2 water skins. There is 1 backpack. Let me have a look what else there is. There's flint and steel.
Grab that.
4 torches. And 1... What would it be? Like a bottle of grog. There you go. What you guys find?
Alright. Duncan sort of looks nervously down the hall. I think we should get moving. Double time.
Yeah, I think I just grab what I can and we'll talk about dividing it later once we're out of here.
Yeah.
I mean, how about you tell me exactly what you grab hold of? Like, this is like quick decisions.
Yes,
we're not gonna retcon things.
At least take the backpack to shove some stuff in.
So yeah,
the flint and steel, so I can actually light torches. And how much can I?
To be fair, you could probably put all of this stuff in this backpack, if you wanted to. It would just take you a full round to do that, whilst everybody else is doing stuff.
Okay, well in that case, I want to sort of signal to the others, like move ahead, I will follow, and I'll quickly shove everything in because food and water will be quite necessary for our survival. And then once I have it all in the bag, I'll follow the rest, moving away.
Right, so the rest of you guys move up, and I'm just going to move your tokens.
Oh, yep.
To get you guys kind of where you need to be. But you now find yourselves in front of a workshop. This is where you guys have been put to work, and obviously Duncan, for you this is a new area, you've not been here before. But for Isabel and Norman, you've been here many, many times over the last few weeks since you became prisoners of this orcish camp. And Isabel, you managed to acquire some weapons, some equipment from this place. To the right is alcoves. You get the impression that this whatever this place is, it was once a crypt of some sort, right? This underground structure, it was some sort of crypt. Whether it be alcoves and stuff like that. But it's now an orc prison. An orc stronghold. What do you guys want to do?
I would like to go inside and just grab myself something better than the little billy club.
Yeah, so Isabel's put in the chat what is left equipment-wise. So if you would like to acquire any of those pieces of equipment, you may add them to your sheet.
Alright.
You might want to split it. In a moment, Oswald. Remember, it's taking you a 4 rounds whilst the party are doing this.
If I may, sorry, you'll hear me saying that a lot.
Yeah.
So I recall you having said something which might apply here with you iterating that we are in a crypt.
Yep.
I'm gonna follow this. Where was I? There, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I'm gonna follow this up. And look at the walls to see if I can't find any, if not secret, I don't really like that term, but hidden doors. Or maybe doors that are just obscured, covered in moss or thyme or behind a drape.
Cool. Yeah, roll me a... Actually, don't roll.
Fair enough.
As you come down this corridor, you see a door ahead. There's a door specifically right here. Worth
Right.
mentioning that the corridor does continue on, and you can dash if you want to move further.
Yeah, okay. I will move further up to the door, as well as illuminate further. Though I can't test it yet, can I?
No.
Yeah, right. Fair enough. I'm done.
But the corridor does continue on, and that is promising in a way for you. Perhaps you will find a way out after all. Okay, so I imagine Ross, Harry, and Johnny all head into the armory and collect some equipment. Couple,
Yeah.
Probably, I think 2 of them take a hand axe each, or not hand axe, sorry, a dagger each, and one of them takes a hand axe.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the remaining hand axe and a javelin.
I'm just gonna make a little note of who has what, so then I can you know refer to it. Cool.
Alrighty.
With that in mind, Oswald, you now regroup the rest of the party. And Duncan, what do you want to do?
Well, I would like to test this door to see if it's locked immediately.
It appears to be stuck, but it's not locked. It just needs a little bit of
Stuck.
force.
Alright, well...
Pull. There's a pull door.
Okay, well, I will give it a wrench. Strength with grit.
Yes.
There we go. Well, that's a 5 or a 17.
You manage to open the door, but you are shocked at what you see. Suddenly,
Oh, yes.
the room, or sorry, the interior of the room begins to come out and fall on top of you, almost as if the room has just been full of debris. The room is caved in, and it's now coming towards you. I'd like you to... Actually, what do you want to do? How do you want to avoid getting covered in debris, getting hurt?
Close the door.
See, this is why I asked you, because I thought maybe he could jump out the way, maybe you could try and close the door. There's a couple of different solutions, and based on what you do, I give you a certain check. This is the whole idea of sandbox and stuff. So, I think for that, roll me another strength check.
Alright, I'll give it a shot. That's an 18 or a 10, so we've got an 18.
An 18 succeeds, and you manage to push the door closed. And it's very difficult. You know, you have to use your action to close it, but you do not take any damage.
Okay, certainly breathing sort of quickly. Duncan looks down the hall at Isabel. She's the one that's there, and so, listen, don't, yeah, come on. He's sort of very breathless. That's me done.
Alrighty, Isabel, what do you want to do?
I'm gonna dash and end my turn.
What is Isabel doing? Is she just looking at the walls, looking at the ceiling, the floors?
No, she's just running as far as she can, and then when she sees this dead end, she's just gonna start looking around, trying to understand why there's a dead end.
Oswald.
Yes, seeing Isabel stop over there and assuming it's a dead end, I also wish to enter the armory to see if there's anything useful to be found, since I'm unaware of what has been taken and what hasn't.
Yeah.
I just want to take a look if there's anything I could use.
So you took a hand axe, didn't you, Norman? So that means there are. You took a dagger as well, or not?
I took a javelin.
You took a javelin. Okay. So both the javelins have been taken. That means there are 3 daggers left.
Alright, I already have one, so I want to pick up another one just as a backup so I could throw something. And with
It is
that,
also worth mentioning that there are tools in this room. Tools can be useful for other means. There are stone hammers,
sort of-
stone chisels, and pliers.
Could I take a hammer?
Yeah, it's a stone hammer. It's a D4 weapon. It's equivalent to a club, but it has construction purpose, right? It can be used for blacksmithing and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, I am going to change my dagger macro to a hammer then, since I think that makes more sense for a priest.
Sure.
But yeah, that's it. That's my turn.
Norman.
Alrighty. Do there happen to be any long poles, like a 10-foot pole or something like that in this room?
I think there is a spade in this room, a wooden spade, and it would be close to the forge, and it would be used to like move and like dump coal into the actual pit. That is the closest thing to a 10-foot pole. The orcs aren't walking around using 10-foot poles in here. I guess they believe it's safe.
All right. Well, then I'm just gonna leave that. I'm going to move on forward up with the other guys. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. Yeah. All right. And that's not me. That's a torch.
Yeah, I'd like you to move yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, right up there.
Alrighty. Duncan.
Alright, well, Duncan, moves up here, looking at the wall ahead, and he sort of curses to himself, Bulwark's teeth! It's a dead end! And he starts sort of nervously palming at the walls, mumbling to himself, come on, these old places always have weird nooks and crannies, just find a button.
You look around and you see that the wall is uneven on one side, the eastern side, next to where you're standing.
Mm-hmm.
The bricks, especially in the centre, just appear to be a little bit skewed, using perhaps a little bit more mortar than the rest of the area would have. Would you like to investigate it?
Well, I'll certainly start palming around it and feeling it.
Yeah, roll me an intelligence check to see how much Duncan can discern about what he is seeing right now.
I'll certainly try, although he mentions to Isabel, I think I found something. Oh, that's just peachy.
You get the impression that the centre of the wall is quite weak, and there's kind of a lack of brick really in this area. A couple of big hits from a sturdy weapon might be able to reveal something. Who knows?
Fair enough.
What do you see?
Oh, if I may, if you don't have anything, Duncan
Yep.
would tell Isabel, it just looks a little thin. Anyone got a hammer?
Can I hear that from here?
Yep.
In that case, I want to move up there.
Yeah, go for it.
Once I can.
Yeah, you got the same initiative as Isabel, so you can act when she does.
Yeah, I
Rest of the
can't
fellas will move up.
move all the way up there in my turn, but I had in that. Well, I could dash.
You could
So
dash.
Yeah, I dash over there and say you were asking for someone with a hammer. I've just found one.
It's a bit small, the hammer that he's brought with him, but better than nothing.
All right. Who's next?
It's over to Isabel.
I will take the hammer from Oswald.
Yeah, I just
And-
hand it over if you want. No problem.
And I'll begin hammering the wall.
Yeah, make me a strength check. I will say, I do not think grit applies. I do not think there is an opposing force. I think you are the force. You are the only force. But 19 is your first roll, so we'll take that. You now start bashing down the bricks of the wall, and one of the bricks knocks out. You realise the wall is hollow, and there is in fact space on the other side. If you keep bashing it down, it will reveal a way forward. One check alone is not enough, especially in the way that you're currently doing it. Moving on. Norman.
Seeing this, I'm going to move up and I'm going to turn my hand axe around, so I'll be hitting the wall with the back of it, and I would like to start helping chip away at this wall as quickly as I possibly can. Where would I put myself? Like right here? Would I need to push some people out of the way? Or is it too crowded?
I mean, these squares are more for combat than anything visual. So if you want to stand here and for sake of purpose, for flavour, you move between Isabel and Duncan and begin to do what you want to do, you may do so.
Alright, yeah, then that's what I'll do. Strength check.
Hmm?
Righty.
You join in and begin to try and help with this. Obviously, it has not come down yet, and it's at this moment, Duncan, as you're about to act, that you now start to, off in the distance, hear the sounds of the chains being turned again. The portcullis is slowly being raised.
Well, Duncan very sort of hurriedly tells everyone to come on, hurry, and will give it his own whack with his club.
Go for it.
Oh, what is this? All right.
You swing your club at the wall. I'd like you to roll me a d6. A 1, 2, or 3, your club is fucked.
All right. Oh,
Your-
just on the cusp.
Your club, as I said, is fucked. And I want you to mark the club off your sheet. It's no longer a
Yep.
weapon that can be efficiently used.
Just a moment. I will then step back, my usefulness being very much degraded.
No worries. Isabel.
Yep, I'm gonna try to bash down the wall some more.
Roll me another check. 15. You now bash enough of the wall down to make a hole wide enough that you guys could climb your way through. Would you like to do it?
Yeah, I'll drop the hammer, pick up my javelin, and I will crawl through.
You crawl through to the other side, and what you see is a corridor leading off ahead. It's as wide as the corridor that you and your party were on, but ahead you see the same, a dead end. What would you like to do?
I will move forward. I don't know how much my movement I use crawling through, but
I imagine it would be half your speed to, it would just cost half your movement. Same as like standing up, right? So yeah, I'd say you've
Okay.
spent your movement.
Okay, yeah. Then I will pass turn.
Cool. Over to Oswald.
Yes, I want to pick up the hammer and try to move through as well.
And you managed to do so. It costs 15 feet to climb through. I'll move your token to the other side.
Okay. And, well, noticing it is a dead end, I assume Oswald would be smart enough to realize this room probably has some sort of purpose. So I want to use the rest of my movement checking this wall to see if I notice anything.
Roll me an intelligence check, Oswald.
Alright. 15.
So, you do not notice anything too strange about the southern wall. But one thing that does catch your eye are the steps ahead. One of them is a bit wider than the other steps, and a little bit slanted. That is all.
Okay, could I deduce from that it's sort of pressure thing?
Could be.
Could be. Okay, well, I did use my movement and action, but I do mention it to Isabel and, if possible, to the others who are still behind.
Yes, you can call through the hole in the wall. Norman.
Yes, I do that, and that's my turn.
Fantastic.
All right. Now that I know we have a means of escape, I want to go back over to the can I make it 5, 10, 15, 20, 25? Yeah, I want to go back over to this door over here and step off to the side and open it.
Roll me a strength check. DC is lowered as Duncan managed to unstick it. Only a DC 9 to shift open now. Let's see if you can roll a 9 or higher. Oh, natural 20 from Norman. You almost ripped the door from its hinges as the spray of contents now rushes across the floor, creating a bit of a blockade.
Alrighty. I think I have 5 feet remaining here, so I'm just gonna move 1 square back up, and I'll end my turn there.
Duncan.
Alright, it feels somewhat cowardly, but I'm going to follow the others into the passage.
Yeah, so 5 feet to move there, 15 feet to go through. That brings you up to 20 feet once you reach the other side.
Yep.
Make a
Okay.
purpose, I'll open the door so you guys can see the light.
Oops. Select them. There we go. 10. And then wide step. Which step was it?
It is the third step.
Okay. So I moved 25, 30. I couldn't. Oh no, I'd still be a solid 5 feet away. Okay, that's me done. I'm gonna nervously wait.
You suddenly hear the sound of orcs charging forward, roaring as they, rush down the corridor. 30, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. You begin to hear the shouts and screams of prisoners as you realise that they are going to soon meet their maker. And you worry now that the orcs will be upon you soon. You only now have a handful of rounds remaining before the orcs are upon you, and with serious weapons. Remember, they have armor. You guys don't. Isabel.
I'm gonna look around the room to see if I can find another maybe hollowed out wall or anything.
Sure. So what area are you focusing in? I want you to use the measuring tool and mark with the measuring tool where you're going to be moving, Isabel, to show me the walls that you're going to be looking at. Okay. Remember, if you know how to do it. That's good. That's good. So you're going to be moving with that kind of motion. Do you mind your step?
No, I'm just kind of looking.
You're just
walls.
You're just looking. You're not going to mind your step. Okay. Isabel, you now start to walk up the steps. And as you reach the third step, your foot actually pushes down on a pressure plate. You look to the walls as suddenly slits reveal themselves all along the eastern, well, I guess it would be the northern wall, the wall on your left. And as soon as those slits, those holes reveal themselves, as small bits of metal, like darts, shoot out. I want the three of you guys to roll me a dex save. If you have a shield, you may roll a strength check instead. No grit.
Sounds about right.
With DC 9, if you succeed, you take no damage. If you fail, you take a D4 points of damage. You may roll how much damage you take. Mark it off. One of the darts hits you in the side, just below your ribs, Isabel. It's painful, but you managed to pull it out. It only went about half an inch deep. A wound that you are going to need to get checked or healed, but nothing too pressing right now. Duncan, on the other hand, the dart actually sliced you, didn't actually penetrate, and you are very thankful, though you are now bleeding. It is a scratch.
Sorry to interrupt. Slight tech difficulty. My token has disappeared.
Refresh your roll 20. If you have any technical difficulties on roll 20, it's the old saying, turn it off and on again. Usually works.
Fair enough.
Roll 20 is a bit finicky. Foundry's a lot cleaner, but Foundry's a lot more complicated. So that's why I like roll 20. I'm almost 30. And I like the stuff that I have. I don't want to have to learn anything new. I'm an old dog set in his ways, right? But yeah, anyway, so Isabel, you step on the trap. It's set off, and you pull out the dart and continue to look around. I'd like you to roll me an intelligence check to see if what you discern. Based on what you discern is the amount of information and detail that I'm going to give you. But be aware, guys, if there is something there, I'm always going to give you something, right? So there's always a reason to roll. It's just whether what I give you is actually valuable or not, I guess. You get the impression, Isabel, it would make a lot of sense if the hollowed wall was opposite the one that you came in through. So this is me giving you a eureka idea, a little ding in your head. But we'll skip your turn now, as you kind of end your turn with that thought in your mind. Oswald.
Yes, I want to move over next to Isabel, carefully stepping over the third step of the staircase.
Yep.
And would would Oswald be aware of the information you've just given Isabel to investigate the opposite wall?
I imagine Isabel's now touching the wall. So...
And I wish to do the same and kind of tap it with the hammer to check if it's hollow. Just like the previous wall.
yeah, roll me an intelligence check.
Okay.
Success means that you make this a lot easier for yourselves. Failure means that it's a bit more tricky.
13.
So, you don't know why. This place is very old. But in this corridor, on the wall that you're standing next to, you actually do see a switch. It is a lever, and it is in the upright position currently. You imagine the wall might be hollow, but there is a switch right there.
I want to gesture the others to get down, and I also wish to do so myself while I switch the lever, hoping it's not a trap.
So you guys all kind of hunker down. Oswald pulls the switch, and as you do, you hear a as the wall begins to shift, revealing a way forward. And as you guys peer into this space and your light kisses the darkness, you see it looks like a storage room, but one that is abundant with treasure. Seems you found a hoard room.
Jackpot!
I would still have movement, so I
Yep.
wish to move into the room,
Yep.
and there I end my turn inside the room.
Yeah, so you look around and you see crates, you see barrels, you see sacks, there's coins and all sorts of stuff here.
I just wanted to make sure I at least didn't see any orcs in here.
That's a good question, Isabel. I mean, these are things that were kind of provided in the room that you guys were working on. Would you gain experience for it? I don't see why the hell you wouldn't. So I'm going to give each of you guys an experience point for salvaging weapons and equipment from, not the armory, it's not called the armory, it's called it's the workshop. It was just, it's the workshop for the armory, I guess. Because, the orcs are all about the war machine, right? They are the war machine. Anyway, Norman, your turn.
Alright, I would like to go back up and join the rest of the party here. So, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I peer in and I kind of see that some people have taken wounds here, so I guess I'm going to watch my step as I try to follow everybody along up here. So
yeah, it's worth mentioning that as you kind of crawl on through, Duncan, you notice the step that was compressed, it now raises into its original position again. Just to let you know.
Alright, is that an indication that it's my go?
I don't think Norman can reach the steps unless he wants to dash.
I mean, I might as well.
Okay, so do you want to... and you're going to mind your step?
Yep.
Okay, you move over. It's your turn, Duncan.
Okay, it goes without saying, I gingerly step up the stairs, being careful. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 into the room. And I'll use my action to knock over this barrel that's just to my left to sort of tip its contents.
Very cool. So yeah, you tip it over, and it is full of slag rock, and there's glints and glimmers of different ore in the rock. It is unprocessed. Make an intelligence check. See if you can figure out what mineral is
Right,
in
I'll
here.
certainly try. What's a 15?
It's silver. It's silver, raw silver, actually still in the rock form. And this makes sense, guys, because these orcs are attacking trade routes, right? And what would be coming along a trade route more often than not? Minerals. Especially silver and gold, things that are actually used as currency. And you imagine this is just where they keep all of the shit they steal and find on the roads.
Alright. But that's me done after that, sorry.
Yeah, fantastic. The orcs grow louder, and the screams of the people become quieter and quieter as you kind of peel away and arrive in this room, but you can still hear the noises, and it is foul, it is tainted, it is disgusting, despicable. These orcs are not like you, and their culture is perceived as alien to your own, and they feel the same way about your culture. They think you are too kind, too sweet and innocent. You are backwards, perhaps. The strong lead, and the strong survive. That is their way. And the sound of orcs is getting closer to you guys. You can hear shouting coming from where the workshop is. They are not far behind. A couple of the men at the back begin to panic. Ross doesn't know what to do. Johnny and Harry are very careful coming up the steps. And they now end their turns behind you, whilst Ross at the rear holds a hand axe in two hands, just waiting as he shakes for any orc to approach. You can see the fear on the men's faces. You don't get the impression that any of these men are actually soldiers, but perhaps merchants, traders, migrants, travelers. Round 8. And I would imagine that Isabel and Norman, you guys now join the rest of the party in the room. Would all of you guys like to look around and see what you can find on this turn?
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yes.
be mainly looking for an exit if one's not immediately apparent.
You're looking for an exit. Are the rest of you guys looking for stuff that might be of value?
Yes.
I have a particularly gruesome idea.
What would that be?
What would it be?
So Duncan will, as you guys enter, and this is probably going to affect him in the long haul, go over to the door, lean out, and flick the mechanism. That opened it.
Is this once the party are in the room?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say you locked them both out.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't lock those two out, but
So
I mean,
Norman and Isabel, you both come into the room, and as you do, Norman, you immediately go to the other side and start looking for a way out. Isabel, you begin looking through the barrels, and Oswald, you said the same. So you're looking through the crates, seeing if you can find anything. Duncan, you go over to the door that you came from. Do you try to do this quietly so they don't realise what you're doing?
I mean, I suppose I may as well.
No, I'm asking, does your character realise that
Well, no,
what he's doing
probably
is wrong?
acting quickly in panic rather than any sense of goodness.
I'm gonna make I don't know. I'm gonna make an argument here that, like, yeah, I want you to roll me a dex check. I want everybody else to roll a spot check. And the reason why is because this is a very loud area. There's a lot going on. You guys are being hunted. You might not be aware of what Duncan's doing, but he rolled a 3, so I imagine
Yeah,
you guys see it.
Sorry, I kept talking over you there.
Don't apologise. I sometimes want you guys to talk over me and tell me what you want to do, as long as you're not being rude. I mean, I know some people see that as being rude, but you know, I do sometimes talk a little bit too much. So you guys all now watch as Duncan goes over and cranks the lever. The door now begins to close, and the 3 men begin to call out.
What the fuck are you doing?
Saving our skins. Shut up.
Those poor souls.
Yeah. We don't have fucking time for this. All right.
I will
They can
say,
figure it out.
Oswald, you find a suit of chainmail that is human-sized in one of the crates. Isabel, you find a longbow and a bundle of 40 arrows.
Priests in Shadowdark are proficient with chainmail, right?
Correct. They've been put in the chat. If you would like to acquire the item, you may do so. The value is included. This does give experience, by the way.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna I'll take the longbow and then I'll call out to the party. Does anybody prefer to use one of these? And I'll just hold the longbow and arrows out.
No, I just hold up the hand axe. I'm like, I'm good with what I've got.
Duncan shakes his head. Never got good at those.
These fucking strength douchebags.
What about
I
the
hold
range?
up the
Hey, bro!
I hold up the chainmail, looking at particularly the region of Duncan and Isabel where they're standing, if either of them wishes to acquire it.
Duncan again sort of shakes his head. Keep it, Shields.
I'll take it.
God
Chainmail is 13 plus dexterity mod, guys. It does give you disadvantage on stealth checks and also swimming checks, so don't expect to be very stealthy wearing this.
I'll take it.
Okay, then I hand it over to Isabel.
That means Isabel's getting both the bow and the chainmail.
I'm
Okay.
trying to give the bow to somebody else.
I'm not calling you. I'm not saying that you're being greedy. I'm just saying, does anybody want the bow?
I don't even think I could use it.
Yeah, I don't think
We
you
have
could.
a ranger.
I can take it.
He's-
I've got +1 to dex, but I'm really built to be a melee fighter.
He's a melee ranger. He's a manger.
The manger ranger. The stranger ranger.
Isabel, if you've got a decent dex, keep it.
I have a +1.
It sounds like it's probably better than the rest of the fellas.
Okay. I guess I'll keep both then.
Cool. So, do you want to start putting on the armor?
Yes.
It is
How
a
much
pro.
do you want?
It takes a while to put armor on. Does anybody want to help her put it on?
I'm the closest.
sure.
I'll do it.
I'm sure you guys probably know this, but armor typically was like a 2 or 3, maybe even a 4-person job, putting on like a knight's armor. That's why they had squires and stuff like that. Knights did. So yeah, this is a proper set of chainmail. It has a lot of like, things to tie up and stuff like that. It's a whole process. So Duncan, you start kind of putting on the layers and getting Isabel kind of prepped.
Yeah. No, I might as well help
Okay.
as well.
Though if I may, with that being said, Duncan would look to Oswald, who has the pack, and say, look to the rubble that he tossed all over the floor. There's some silver flecks in there.
No
They
time
could
to be
be-
greedy.
I just toss what I can into the bag and say something like, we'll divide it when we're out of here, alive.
Fair enough.
Alrighty.
Cool. So
I think we need to start getting out of here now, though. Those guys are getting close.
it will take a while for Isabel to get her armor on, guys. So feel free to start trying to make your way out of here. But unless she has, I don't know, it's probably going to be a fair few rounds that she's going to need to put this armor on.
I say we can't put this on now. We need to go. We've bought ourselves as much time as possible. We need to get out of here.
Okay, I'll just sling the rest over my shoulder.
Yeah, I'd say that you are partly way done. You managed to put on like the first layer, which I imagine would probably be like the underlayer, the cloth, the gambeson, right? You probably put the gambeson on. You probably put like the gloves on and everything, and we're probably gonna leave it at that.
So is that like equivalent to leather armor?
Yeah, sure. I don't think that is any better than yeah, I'd say it's equivalent to leather armor.
Alright, onwards.
Alright. Okay, so Isabel and Duncan are doing that. Norman and Oswald, you guys can move up. There is a door on the far side. Let me just very quickly, I've been switching between tabs, and it's very important that I give you guys the right and concise information. The door that you now approach is made of iron.
Is it locked?
It is locked.
I
Try the key.
assume the Orcish key doesn't work on this one. I will try, but
You put the key into the lock, and you turn it. You hear a click. The door's unlocked.
Alright. I'm just going to creak it open and take a quick peek outside to see if there's any enemies on the other side of this room. Does not look like it.
As you open the door, roll a dex check.
Okay. Alright.
I also need Oswald to roll a dex check too.
alright.
On the floor beneath you, spikes suddenly shoot up into your feet. Oswald, your positioning was perfect. None of the spikes pierce your heels. But Oswald, they pierce yours. D4 points of damage.
Okay.
You take 1 point of damage as it hits you right in the tip of your boot, and it does graze and scratch your toes. But whilst it is painful, it isn't going to slow you down. Been quite lucky with the damage that you guys have taken from some of these traps so far. One of you only has 4 hit points, so a D4 trap could take you out.
Yeah, I
I'm
wonder if
being
that
lucky
could...
with my trap rolls today.
Yeah. Well, you guys have forgotten to look for traps. That's the issue, and you're being punished for it. Though these traps do not seem to be too punishing. Traps that are very dangerous usually have telling signs. Remember this. And also remember this, chat, right? I'm not the kind of DM who just never tells players if there's a trap ahead, alright? I said something about the step, right?
Indeed.
Okay.
What do we see as we open the door?
Alright, so this is room 15. It is a well. Presumably for drinking water. Well, and there's a door on the far side, which is made of stone. It is not locked.
The water skins that I previously found, were they filled?
They would have been... Yes, they would have been filled.
Okay, then I don't see any particular use for the well. I turn around to see how far Duncan and Isabel are.
Isabel's now at the point where she can move, and it's leather armor, basically, for her.
Okay, then I assume we just press on towards
Yeah,
the next door.
It's worth mentioning, as you guys kind of move up, you hear the banging on the wall. You hear the screaming of the men that you've left to die. Thank God you guys aren't being punished based on alignment choices right now. This is Shadowdark.
Yeah, Oswald, the priest, generally feels terrible about this, but doesn't really see an
Norman feels
way
pretty
out
bad.
of here.
He's the guy who led these guys over here. He kind of gives Duncan a like really dirty scowl and moves into the room.
So as the two of you move in, and Isabel and Duncan, you begin to follow, you suddenly hear screaming coming from the rear. The orcs are attacking. Cool, yeah, so you're gonna drop there. You are carrying a lot of gear. Alright. So you guys now shift through into the next space. You may all do so. Obviously crawling around is lovely and all, but I also do want to keep the pace moving forward. I'm sure you guys appreciate that.
Can I
but
close the door behind us with the key? Like lock it again?
Of course you can, yeah.
And that's what I wish to do.
Alrighty, before you open this door, I want to make a couple of rolls. This is going to basically set up what's going to come next. The risk, the danger. I've set up a couple of scenarios that can happen, and based on a d6 roll, I will find out what's going on. It's always good to be prepared, but always roll a chart or a table to determine what's going to happen, whether it's going to be patrolling units, or if it's going to be celebration and drunkenness. And a 4 is interesting.
I like
as you come to the far side, Oswald. Actually, you said that you were doing the key, so I imagine you're here. Does somebody else want to take point? Perhaps somebody who doesn't have a torch.
I do not have a torch, so well, I guess Isabel's going for it.
She does have the best armor class out of all of you guys currently, I think.
Yeah, you wanna know what? You're tank man. You're front line now.
Actually, I think we both have the same.
So, Isabel, you take point. What do you want to do? Describe to me. Be specific.
So what does the door look like?
It's made of stone. There's no keyhole. You get the impression that all you need to do is push it open.
I'll push it open with my foot.
You pushed the door open. Are you trying to be quiet about this or not?
I'll be careful, but not necessarily quiet.
Okay. You push open the door, and you see the outline of an orc. York is not facing you, and instead, you hear the sound of running water. He's urinating. And there are only a few moments between you seeing him, and him potentially being able to see you. Does anybody want to do anything?
I am going to
Or try to.
run up and try to grab this guy and choke him out.
You have used your action, Isabel, but there are other players, and I'm trying to prompt them. So Norman, you're the one who took the prompt. You now begin to move forward, and as you get to here, I'd like you to roll me initiative.
Alrighty.
I want you to see if you can act quicker than this orc can. You rolled quite well. Let's see what the orc rolls. You've got it. Continue.
God damn. I am going to run up to him and try to choke him out like I did the other orc last session.
Do you still have your shackles on?
I do not, but I've got my arms.
You will find you could put him into a rear naked, but he is an impressive. He is very, very big. So if you know about rear naked, you probably know a bit about UFC. The typical warrior orc would be equivalent to a Brock Lesnar. So
Okay.
very broad necks, very wide shoulders. It would be very difficult to rear naked choke an orc. You would need to roll very high on a strength check. You could do it. It's not impossible. You may certainly try, but
Yeah, no,
It's hard.
I see what you're saying here. I think I'm just gonna ask him a question.
you're gonna ask him a question. Okay, what's the question?
Can my axe fit in your face?
All right, so you run up. Do you want to run up and swing, or do you want to throw the axe at him? Because it is a throwing weapon.
I want to run up and swing, because my +2 only works on melee attacks.
You have enough movement for that, actually. So 10, 20, 30, you do. Okay. So you run up and you go for a swing. And because you've acted first, I'm going to give you advantage. So roll again and see if you can crit.
Alrighty.
Alright, so 3 points of damage. You hit the orc in the side, and he's immediately shocked. He recoils and quickly goes for his weapon. He desperately now swings back at you, Norman. Go for a block check. The DC for this challenge, as always, 13.
Okay. Strength bonus.
For anybody who's
Block.
wondering in the chat what the block check is, it's their AC minus 10. So if they have a 12 armor class, their bonus to this check, this d20 roll that they're doing, is a +2. So Norman just rolled a d20 +2 against the DC that I set. That was 13. The reason why it's 13, it's 11 plus the bonus of the orc's attack. So the orc has a bonus of +2. 11 +2, 13. Norman rolled higher. Norman, you managed to block. How do you do so? And he comes down and tries to swing at you.
I'm going to block with kind of like the inner bit between the head of the axe and the handle, and just kind of like put it up and kind of catch it in that notch.
Okay, so Norman, you've acted. Isabel's acted. Duncan, Oswald, it's now your opportunity to jump in.
Alright. Well, I will just rush in after him. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30.
As you run through this opening here, your light feeds into a room, and you see shadows of orcs, and they now glance over, seeing the light of your torch.
It's always me, innit?
I imagine you continue realizing this, no longer
Yep.
showing the light, but you now realize that you might have just alerted some orcs.
That sounds about right. I'm gonna try and wump this orc with my torch.
Go for it. He's got 1 health. If you hit, he's fucked.
Alright, D20 roll.
Yep.
Actually, oh, here we go. Roll. It's a 10. Does this count as a weapon? It'd be a 12 if I was.
I'd say it counts as a weapon, but their armor class without a shield is 13, so it does
Fair
miss.
Over to you, Ozzy.
Yes, I assume I do notice something of the door situation over here.
Yeah.
So I do want to move in, but I want to hold my torch more closer to... Can I target my torch? Like more to this side, so it doesn't really shine into that hallway, if that's at all possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to, if you allow it from this position, to throw a dagger at the orc.
Go for it.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, Pete, none of the players are playing a thief, so sneak attack does not apply.
I am using the hammer macro, but it has the exact same stats as a dagger would have.
Cool.
Which is a 3.
You throw it, and it actually does hit the orc, but it gets stuck in his chainmail.
Fuck. Luckily,
shit.
I have a second
Yeah.
one, but I can't use it this turn.
Alright, guys. I'm deleting your initiatives. I want you to roll another one. I'm about to add a lot more combatants to this initiative. And the reason why is because as you now fight in this hallway, you hear voices to the south. Not one, not two, but several orcs. And you get the impression, guys, from being dragged through this place before, that room is the big dining hall where all the orcs drink, eat, and sometimes procreate with the female orcs. So very, very busy area, very loud, very noisy, and it is full of what you assume are drunk orcs.
Alrighty.
One
That's
second.
also connected to our way out, though, if I remember correctly.
You are
That
not
particular time.
you are not remembering correctly, unfortunately.
No.
No.
No. Okay.
Trust me, I have not put you guys in a situation that you can't win, because that would not be fair, unless you know, I don't know, put yourself in the situation in the first place. I'm just quickly putting them into teams, and then I'm rolling initiative for them rather than having them as individuals over here. It's a little bit simpler for me to keep track of, as I'm sure you guys can understand. Oh, look at the initiatives, not very good. Okay, let's see who's first, and we can continue from there as we now are round number 9. A lot has been going on. Obviously, I didn't really do rounds whilst you guys were searching for things, but, you know, here we are. Did I roll for the orc that you're actually in combat with? Yes, I did. He's initiative 3. Okay, good to know. Alright, so, with that in mind, you hear the jeering and shouting of the orcs from the south. You get the impression that they are going to be coming and investigating what's going on here very, very shortly. You have mere moments to react before that will happen. Norman.
I am going to try to finish off this orc here with the hand axe. Everything went quiet for me. Oh, there we are.
Loki?
I'm here.
You there?
I'm just I'm just vibing in the ambience of the music for a second, alright?
All good.
Alright, so
Hand axe hits.
yeah.
How do you kill the orc?
I'm going to slosh his jaw off with my axe, and then I'm gonna run past him further down this hallway. So 30 to about right there.
Alright, guys. Be aware, when you're in maps like this, you might not be used to doing Roll20 and having cool battle maps that you guys can move through every round. Move forward in like 10 to 15 intervals, like 15 feet intervals, just so you can see around corners. Don't just rush over a corridor because you might miss vital information, right? And not that Norman would be able to see anything because he's not got a torch, but just for the rest of you guys, right?
Alright.
Very good. So you come up to here, you see that there's some steps, but it's too dark. I imagine you end your turn.
Yeah.
Duncan, you're next.
Alright. Duncan, with the orc dead, looks down the hall, just taking note of where everyone is, and then moves 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30.
So you see,
nothing-
you see to your right, to the east, there is a lot of debris. It has been formed into a bit of a barricade, a bit of a mound, and it is, relatively speaking, impassable for you, Duncan. The party will not be able to get through that area. You need to find a different way.
If I may still do this, I'll use my action to move another 30 feet.
Yep.
Oops. Select 5, 10, 15, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30.
As you get to there, you see the stairs now lead to, a further corridor. There are doors behind you, and there are also doors at the far end of that corridor that you can see. You can hear orcs shouting on the far side of the door behind you, to the west.
Okay, I will hush myself and move turn.
Isabel. $15, $20, $25, $30.
And then I'm gonna dash.
10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Now the turn of some of the orcs. Which orcs is it? Lovely. And Oswald, orcs now come rushing out. They appear drunk, but violent. They block the passage. You realise that the party have left you behind.
Okay.
This orc here. One sec. I'll tell you when it's your turn. My apologies. One of the other orcs opens this door and suddenly spots Duncan. He used his action to do that, and his movement. His turn is over. You spot two orcs, Duncan, through the doorway, and also this thing, which is a big fire pit. They are standing right next to it. It's now your turn, Oswald.
I can't possibly move between the orcs, right?
You would need to use your action to push them aside, or try to move between them. Based on what you want to do, it would be a strength challenge or a dexterity challenge. And if you fail, Oswald might be dead.
Yes.
Unless you've got another trick up your sleeves. After all, you are a priest.
Indeed, I am a priest, but I don't have the lucky trick.
Remember, you do see Norman. You can call out to Norman. You are a team.
Want to call out that those orcs are here.
Roleplay it. Roleplay it.
Norman, the orcs, they've come.
I
They're
guess
blocking the path.
I like turn around and I just like in like the harshest, most orky voice I possibly can, just gonna call out to them, "Over here, you fucking gits!" And just say that to them in Orcish, and hopefully try to help Oswald out here the best I can. But it's not my turn yet, so that's all I can really do, I believe.
That sounds pretty cool. So, Oswald, yeah, I would say one of the orcs turns around and looks towards Norman. What do you do?
As he turns around, I wish to use a distraction to, if possible, push him in this direction and rush through.
Cool. I will ask you now for a strength check. Because of Norman's assist, I'll give you advantage.
Awesome. Let's see. That's a 19 or a 6. So that's a 19.
Let me roll for the orc. Let me have a look what their bonus is. It is a +2.
Come on.
14. You push him to the side, and you now may use your movement.
Okay, let's see. I've used 5, so that's 10, 20, 30. And
Get to this
I've
point.
Sort of regrouped.
You have regrouped to the north of this map. I always refer to the direction, relatively speaking, of the map. So north is up, right now. East is right, etc. South is down. To the north, you see 2 doors. To the east, you see a corridor with a dead end.
Okay. Well, I've
End of your
used my
turn.
action. I've used my movement. That was my turn.
Oh yeah, that orc is dead, so I'll mark him off the initiative. Good job, guys. But this is now where shit gets hairy. 2 orcs suddenly open the doors to the north, hearing the commotion of Norman. They now charge through with their weapons. Neither of them actually have their shields equipped, as they were taken off guard, having been celebrating at the time. But they do have on their side, on their belts, a weapon each. They are now ready to join the fray. There is one more, but he'll end his turn here. Initiative 1. An orc now rushes through and meets you in combat, Duncan. With their weapon in hand, they swing wildly at you, and you do whatever you can to survive. Roll a block check. That hits.
Say la vie.
3 points of damage. As you now take a brutal strike to the side of your body. It hurts ever so much, and it almost forces you to the ground. Now, bleeding from your side, you stand against these orcs as they continue to rush through. This orc rushes past the other one and towards Isabel. Rather than attacking you, he just runs into you, goes for a shoulder barge. Roll me a strength check. You have advantage as you have grit. This orc is going to rage because it just makes sense, right? Goes with the flavour. It doesn't give him any bonuses, but it's just interesting. That's the way I look at it.
Raging orc cannot
And
stop Isabel.
And he rolled really well as well. So, Isabel, I would hate to think that a massive Brock Lesnar orc would be weaker than you. So how do you use your agility, your prowess, to stop this orc dead in his tracks?
Yeah, so since I rolled a nat 20, what I was thinking is maybe I hurl the javelin at him, and that will, that'll definitely, interfere with him, like, impacting with me at full strength.
I don't normally, I do allow, obviously, a nat 20 to do something if it's on a block check. But otherwise, I don't normally allow you to get, like, 3 attacks in. But what I will say is, sure, you throw the javelin at the orc, and it hits him in his leg. It doesn't do any damage, but it trips him. And he comes plummeting to the ground alongside you. He slowly now tries to scurry back to his feet and manages to do so before he ends his turn. Now round 10. Norman, you are starting us off. Duncan, you're on deck. You're going next after Norman. Norman, what do you want to do? Orcs to the north. They've got weapons. They're coming for you and Oswald. There's orcs to the west. They are also coming, and they have their shields equipped.
Would I be able to move through Isabel?
Yes.
Or no?
Yes.
Yes, I can. All right, then I'm.
You just can't move past the orc. The orc, that is a hostile square. You can't move past enemies. You have to move through them.
All right, then I am just going to run past Isabel.
Yep.
Then and come down here. And I'm just going to run up. Just going to use my action to run up the stairs and continue on forward. So that's that'd be 30 feet right there.
Yep.
35, 40, 45, 50, 55. And at that point, I can't see any further, so I'm just going to end my turn there.
Very good. I will say something, and feel free to disagree with me, but not that you did this, Norman, but it was just what I was thinking about during your turn. I don't think you guys can move diagonally around corners. I think you have to move around the corner. All right. So just remember that for future reference. I know it sounds a bit weird. I know it sounds a bit weird, but like I also think it doesn't sound weird. That you would need to move around a corner.
I think that's a perfectly good rule right there. That makes sense. Yeah, I would have just used my full 60 feet right there because I had 5 feet left anyway.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Thank you, Norman. Good turn. Over to Duncan. You see Norman rush past you. Orcs are coming through the door at you. One of them has injured you in almost like a lethal wound, right? A mortal wound. What do you want to do?
Duncan calls help in panic and pain. Balrog's teeth! Come on, Isabel. Let's get out of here. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And he'll try this door, see if it opens.
Yeah, the door itself is made of stone. You give it a good push, and the door opens. It takes your action to do so. You see a corridor that continues ahead. The smell of urine is thick in this space, but otherwise you'd see no orcs.
And no daylight either. All
No
right.
daylight.
Onwards.
Okay, over to Isabel.
I move towards the light, and I'm gonna dash. And that's my turn.
Alright, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back.
This orc now rushes up towards you, Oswald, and goes for a frenzied swing at you. Go for a block.
Alright. Okay, that's 4.
There's your health.
That's me. That's it.
As you are taken down with one swing, you plummet to the ground. You left your priest in the dust.
It's a bad omen.
The orc now steps over your body and continues looking for more to attack. Oswald, I'd like you to roll me a d4 and add your con modifier.
Yes. That's 6.
6 rounds. It's a long time. So, that mind, you may roll now for your first round of 6. It's a con check. You roll a 20 or higher, you are stabilized. You roll a natural 20, you get up with 1 hit point. Otherwise, it goes down another round towards 0.
15. Nothing
Yeah.
happens.
We're now on 5 as you continue to bleed out. Very good. Let's take a purposeful to keep the torch there.
Yeah.
The orcs kind of realise what's going on. They continue to pursue you guys.
Oh. Oswald.
This orc rushes up to Norman and goes for a swing. Lock check.
Alrighty.
Die, wretch! hits you in the thigh. One point of damage.
Yeah.
I imagine you manage to step to the side. It slices rather than, like, completely rips, I guess. And you only take a scratch rather than a gaping wound. Lucky you. The other orc is going to dash and end his turn here. It's now round 11. Norman. It seems your priest has been left in the dust. Whether he is still alive or not, you do not know. What do you want to do, Norman?
I wish I had a torch right now, but
Duncan does.
Duncan does. I want to say, if I grab that off him, I might just leave him in the dark. You mind me grabbing that and just going forward to kind of scout out the options more, being that I'm top of initiative there, Duncan?
As long as you stop where we can still see the light, so we can follow you.
Yes.
I've muted myself
Yep.
on
Go for it,
Discord. And I just want to say to all of the viewers right now,
Grab that.
they have done
yeah,
what
there
I
you go.
expected them to do.
How do I link it to my character?
They have not
here?
considered each other too
You
well.
drag the box around it and select them
They
both.
have sold their allies in the dust. This is very Shadowdark, I'd say.
Then 5.
Let's see how things continue, whether they will begin to work together, or if they are going to wipe here. If they do, we'll just start again next week.
20. Is that the exit right there?
Well, tell me what you see.
I see a large room with I assume not. Actually, yeah, no, that's probably not it. That's just another room, isn't it?
It is.
Oh shit.
But you see orcs ahead. And actually, roll me a spot check.
All right, and that's
Just wisdom.
Wisdom, yeah.
Yes, really, honestly, one of the only things that wisdom is good for. It's good for instincts. So if you want to play on your instincts, you can roll a wisdom check.
All right.
So if you're like, which way is the exit? Let me use my instincts. Yeah. Your instincts tell you that oh god, the way out is through those orcs. The room to the north.
All right. Well, then I'm going to. I don't have any choice but to really brute force it here, I guess. All right, so that was 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And I'm going to toss a javelin at one of these orcs.
Alright. Which one?
This one right here.
Alright, I believe you're within range to do so, so throw your javelin.
Oh, let's... Javelin. 15.
That hits, you do a point of damage. It
Oh,
says,
that shouldn't have a +2 on it.
should have a +2.
No, it shouldn't.
It shouldn't.
No. Yeah, no, it shouldn't. Yeah,
Shouldn't it? Should
let me just change that real quick here.
Right. Okay, so you do a point of damage, as it does manage to narrowly hit the orc. You end your turn. Duncan.
Yeah.
Okay. Isabel, you there?
Yeah.
Yep. Do you have a weapon out, maybe on your side or something?
I have a dagger and a short sword in my belt, and then I have a longbow in my hand.
Duncan would precariously grab the knife from your side, apologizing as he does so. And then dodge forward 5, 10, 15, 20.
And Duncan, as you get to this point, you see the orcs ahead, you look around you on either side, and you can see over the barricade to your left and off in the distance you can see Oswald, who's not lying down but actually sitting up against the wall, bleeding all over the floor. Pretty brutal.
He winces and steps forward. How many feet did I move? 5, 10, 15, 20. 5, 10, 15, 20. Okay. I'm going to try to throw the dagger that I took at this closest orc. Sorry, I was just fixing my macro.
Cool. The one on the right. Yeah. Oh! Natural 20. That means you get to roll an additional d4 points of damage. You may as well do it.
Nah.
7 points of damage. Where does the dagger hit? Because that is a kill.
I'd say his eye.
Right in his eye. You wipe out one of the orcs. The other two orcs look at the guy, the orc that just got hit in the eye, and they kind of quiver back, a bit shook by that, holding their weapons up.
Duncan is desperate for life. But that's me done.
Alright. Isabel.
I'm gonna fire at this orc here.
It's worth mentioning, guys, that the room 6, the room to your right, is a guard room. Haven't really added a lot of art for the room, but it's got a table, some stools, what you'd expect. Yeah, feel free to do exactly what you said you were going to do as well. Oh my god, the natural 20s back to back, guys. Honestly, there's a sense of adrenaline in the air. You guys are rushing forward. You know that if you do not succeed here, you are all dead. They're not going to take you prisoner again. Why would they? You guys have tried to... Some of you have tried to escape twice. Fire a shot. It hits which orc? Where does it hit? How does it kill the orc?
This one, I'm gonna shoot him, like, I assume he's gonna, like, roar eventually and, like, hype himself up, so I'm just gonna shoot him through the mouth. Back his throat.
So he opens his mouth, the roar, and you just hit him right in the mouth. And he just drops to the ground, slumps down.
And then I'm gonna use my remaining 5 feet of movement to move up there.
Good. Very good. Who do we have remaining? We have some orcs moving forwards. This one dashes round the corner. This one's going to do the same. You are surrounded. This orc comes over here because there are gaps in the barricade, and not big enough that he can really do anything, but he can see you guys and he can hear you guys. And with his weapon, he just starts hitting the barricade, trying to break it. Trying to open up a new line of attack, so you guys are basically surrounded on 3 fronts. I'll roll an attack, though I'm sure you guys can understand that unless he rolls a natural 20, he's not going to knock it down in 1 turn. It's a lot of rock. So he starts doing that. The process has begun. I'm going to put a little icon on him so I can remember. My brain isn't very good, especially when there's like 15 enemies. But that little icon will remind me that there's something special about what he's doing. Other than that, the orcs are all done. It's over to Oswald. I'd like you to roll me a con check.
Okay.
That's 17.
Nothing happens.
You go down from 5 to 4 as you continue to bleed out. And I want to say, Oswald, you know, I don't want you not having any involvement in what's going on. Obviously, you can't act, you can't kill, you can't run away. But you are still technically conscious. What is going through Oswald's mind right now as he's dying on the floor?
I'm worried about the fate of the prisoners we left behind that were locked in that small room, and I'm hoping and praying to my God that the others find a way out alive and that my sacrifice was not in vain.
I like it. I'll give you a luck point. Maybe it'll help.
Awesome.
Maybe it won't.
Thank you.
Let's see if you have good luck.
I can't use it on my last save, right? I
No,
have to use it
but
on the next one.
indeed. Alrighty, 1 second, guys. I'm just figuring out which orcs are next. It's this one. He charges forward, slams into the two of you. I'm gonna roll a d6 to choose my target. 1, 2, or 3. It'll be Norman. 4, 5, or 6. It'll be Isabel. Norman, roll me a block check as the cleaving swing of this orc now comes within striking distance.
Oh. Well, the torch is not very good at blocking.
Take 3 points of damage. Mark it off.
Alrighty. 1 sec. I'm gonna move this torch out of the way.
He swings at you from overhead, and you bring up both your hands to try and catch his weapon. And you manage to do so, but you catch it by the blade. And your hands are now cut and bleeding as the blood now rushes down your wrists and forearm. It's a shame that your priest is dying on the floor because he could have healed you all.
I've made some poor decisions. What brought me here?
Over now to Initiative 1, the orcs that remain. One of them is moving forward and reaches the rear of your formation. He slams into Duncan. Roll me a strength check, Duncan, as he tries to knock you prone.
Does grit apply?
Grit does apply.
Alright. We have an 18 or a 20. Not natural.
Very good. Natural 20.
Alright.
Oh.
Oh, I'm on my butt.
You get knocked to the ground. And you're on your butt. Gonna pause here for just a moment. We're on round number 12. Yes, viewer, we do use morale checks, but the orcs have a very clear advantage right now. Once a couple more orcs are dead, then morale checks come into play. Usually morale checks start once half the enemy force is dead. There is still way more than half the enemy force. If a certain orc takes a lot of damage, they may retreat, but I don't want to be rolling a morale check for every single enemy. I'm sure you can see how many orcs we have on the field today. Anyway, round number 12. Norman. I will say very quickly, there are other ways to make orcs flee. You don't necessarily need to hurt them to make that happen. Norman.
Oh. Alright, so do I remember the exit being in the next room, or is it way further down?
Your instincts tell you that to the north, you will find freedom.
Okay. I'm just going to push past and run at this point here. So I'm just going to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Is that the exit right there? No?
It is a stairwell, spiral staircase that leads up to the surface.
Yeah, I'm just going to use the remaining of my movement to run up the thing here.
Drop your torch, maybe?
Yeah, I'm just gonna drop the torch at the bottom of the staircase and just
Very good.
book it.
How much remaining movement do you have to go up the stairs with?
I've got, if I use my action here, I'll have 30 feet of movement.
You've escaped. Congratulations.
Booyah!
Duncan.
Same thing. Duncan's gonna swear and tell Isabel to follow him, because Norman's found the way out. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and up.
And that would be another. How many feet would you be able to go up?
Well, I moved 30 there, and then I'll use my action to dash up.
Fantastic. So that would be another 30 feet. You've made it, Duncan.
Yep.
Congratulations. Isabel. Remember, you're not able to move diagonal around corners. You've got to move around the orcs. So that will slow down your movement slightly. You can't move through an orc either. The 5, yep, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30.
And then I'm gonna dash. So 10, and then I have 20 feet.
Very good. You made it to the top.
I'm sorry, Oswald.
Yeah.
Oswald, I don't want to beat around the bush. I want to know whether you are dead or whether you will pop up with 1 hit point and be able to escape this place.
We'll see.
I want you to roll your checks. The first one.
I am going to use... are we just going to roll them?
I was going to say,
Oh,
you may as well roll the remaining 3 and the additional 1 for a reroll.
Yeah, then I'm just going to roll the remaining ones, and if I don't roll well enough, I'll use my luck.
Yeah, so roll and then take a pause so we can read it. 5. Fail. 17.
Another fail.
Fail. We're just fishing, guys.
Okay, so I can use the luck for one last roll, right?
Yeah. You may. 20. With that in mind, you stabilize. You're not dead,
But I am unconscious, right?
but you are unconscious.
Fuck.
I'm thinking. One moment. Which god do you serve? So, are you lawful or are you neutral?
I am lawful. I chose Helm as my
Helm the Watcher.
god. Helm the Watcher, and I hope he's watching over me.
So, as your wounds begin to clot, the wounds begin to clot, and you manage to kind of self-stabilize in this process. You are having this weird vision. You are almost out of your body, seeing things that aren't actually there in the material plane, but things that you can see in the ethereal. And what you see are spirits around you, that of your family that have already passed. Whether this is parents or cousins, uncles and aunts, or grandparents, perhaps. These people look down at your sorrow, your misery, with despair. Suddenly you see a shining light, beacon of hope. You see the people now beckoning you forward. They're asking you to follow them. Do you want to? Or do you want to stay right here?
I assume they are beckoning me towards the afterlife, aren't they?
Yeah.
Considering, as a man of faith, seeing the light and seeing the spirits of my loved ones, I do think in character, Oswald would follow instead of remaining in the darkness.
And you do. You now fade away from this world and follow your family to everlasting peace. As you pass away on the floors of this dungeon. That in mind, that is the first death of the campaign.
Thank you, Oswald, for your sacrifice. We would not have made it without you.
I'm
Legend.
glad you guys all made it out alive.
Well, the danger is not over yet, but yes, they have made it to the surface. I'm sure the orcs are not going to give up so easily. But, Oswald, thank you very much. You may now begin working on your next character. Whilst we continue the session, you may clean the character sheet that you currently have and begin rolling stats and going through the process that we have done in the past. Is that okay?
Alright, can I just roll my stats and everything in the main Roll20, or would that disturb
Yes.
the stream?
You want to do it right now?
Okay, just let me find the macro thingy again.
Yeah, I can quickly post it for you. It's bracket 3d6 bracket, and then you
I
just
found it back in the Discord.
yeah.
Let's
And
see.
there you have it. But remember, you can position the stats where you wish in this campaign. You're not stuck with these stats in their current positions. You can move them around.
Okay.
Alrighty, I'll allow you to start working on what you want to do. But if I'm the only thing I'm going to say is, don't play a fighter. We've got enough fighters.
Alright, I'll try to make something nice.
Alrighty, I'll leave that up to you. The rest of you guys have made it to the surface. And we now proceed from this point moving forward. One moment. As you reach the surface, the heat hits you immediately. You are back in this arid, harsh climate. And without your equipment, you are vulnerable. But that's not really what you're focusing on right now. You're focusing on the fact that, well, as far as I'm aware, I believe each of you are wounded. You are tired. You are hungry. You are thirsty. Fighting is thirsty work. And you realize that the orcs are on your tail. As you look around, you see that you're just standing at the top of this staircase, and around you is just this very beautiful scene of rolling hills and sweeping plains. Obviously very dried grass, and that's that quite harsh Badlands type biome, you know, quite like North Africa, right? But there's nothing really. I mean, this was just kind of an entryway. There's nothing really around. There's no like orc tents or battlements or anything like that. This was just an opening in the ground that the orcs have been hiding in, like a hidey hole. So you have no idea where you are. You don't know which way, relatively speaking, on first glance to go. But I imagine right now all you want to do is get away from this place, right?
Yes. Duncan says, rather raspily, "Shelter. We need to find a shady spot to hunker down and lick our wounds."
The first thing we need to do is get as far away from this place as we possibly can. After
Yeah,
that, we can start looking for other necessities. We need to put some distance between us. We need to start moving now. And Norman starts just. Actually, can I see like any familiar landmarks before I start running in a random direction here?
So, to your north, you see rolling hills. To your east, I'm actually trying to think, would you know which way north is? Would you be following the North Star? How about you roll me a check to discern whether you're able to really figure out exactly your current compassing position.
I have advantage on checks associated with navigation.
Then roll me
As
advantage on an
ranger.
intelligence check, please.
Okay. Let's click on Norman here.
Navigation,
and-
that's a good word to describe it. I like that.
Natural 20. Let's go.
Natural 20. To the north, there are hills. To the east, forest. To the west, you see a valley. Harsh badlands. A place that you would not dare to tread. And to the south, plains. Scarce, no buildings or civilization inside. And it's very clear that you are far from civilization no matter what direction you go in. The orcs have isolated themselves, but probably not enough that you couldn't find your way back. After all, the orcs were attacking the roads, were they not?
Yeah. Well, I suppose at this point here, let's go to the forest first to hunker down. So let's start running as fast as we can in that direction. Because they'll probably have the most resources, most places that we can actually take shelter in, and probably going to be the easiest to hide from them in as well.
Also, guys, you did manage to find a couple of pieces of equipment in the treasure room. I would like you guys to each add 2 points of experience.
Alrighty.
Remember, once you reach 10, your characters will level up. You will immediately gain the benefits of that level up. It will not be added to your current HP, but it will be added to your maximum hit points, whatever you roll on your health. So, do you all agree to the forest?
Yeah, I'm cool with it.
Into the woods.
So you now begin to make your way down the hill as quickly as you can. You look behind you and you see orcs are trailing you. I would like each of you to roll me a con check. We don't roll con checks very often. We are now. This constitution check is all about your stamina, whether you can outrun these orcs or not.
Damn, that's unfortunate.
Yes, that is very unfortunate.
So, the orcs are beginning to catch up. Despite the fact, Isabel, that you are okay, the thing is you're keeping pace with the others. And I imagine you're all moving quickly, but Norman and Duncan, you're getting gassed out, right? I have a system that we're going to be using for this. It is a homebrew system. It is very simple. It is called attrition. It is another version of exhaustion. There is a system that is using something like this, and that is the new version of 5e. It's probably the only thing from the new version of 5e that I actually like. Everything else is a bit... yeah. But this attrition system is simple. It replaces exhaustion, and whenever something you fail a check on something where you would gain attrition, you gain either a point or maybe 2 points of attrition. Once you hit 10, your character is dead. And as you go up these points of attrition, for each level of attrition you have a -1 to all tests, all checks. Is that easy to understand?
Yeah,
So,
fair enough.
because the two of you failed, and the DC was a very, very nice, lukewarm 9, you each gain a level of attrition. Where you want to mark that on your sheet is up to you, but it's important that you mark it.
All right.
Maybe
That
in your
doesn't
talent
include
section.
me, right?
Doesn't affect you, you rolled higher than a 9. But this is an all-encompassing system. I'm using it for getting tired from running, getting gassed out. I'm using it for not drinking water, not eating enough food, from getting an infected wound. It's all encompassing into one system rather than keeping track of like 15 different systems, if that makes sense. Nice and simple for you guys to understand. Two of you have 1 level, one of you has 0 levels. And the idea is you want to try and keep these levels down by making sure you take care of yourselves and finding things that are going to make everything better, like food, water, and etc. Herbs. But anyway, you're rushing down the hill into the forest. I imagine you're trying to give these orcs to slip, so I'd like you to roll a dex check each. This is a stealth challenge.
All right. I've just found out apparently I have advantage on those as well.
Dude,
I imagine,
what is
yeah,
this?
Rangers are fantastic. So yeah, they're a bit like thieves in that they get advantage on a bunch of different skills. Obviously, fighters get advantage on grit. You know, they get the grit thing, which is very, very useful in more combat situations, but it can also be useful outside of combat as well. So yeah, natural
Very
one on
good.
Duncan. This wasn't going to give you attrition, no. This is just more of me getting a gauge on how things are going. Duncan is exhausted, and he appears to be the weak link of your group of 3. You two seem to be doing everything right. Obviously you're feeling quite tired, Norman, but that's about it. You now begin to make your way into the forest. It is harsh and dry, but it gives you a little bit of respite. The canopy manages to provide shade, and you do now notice that there is vegetation growing. Berries on, wow, on bushes. Bushes of berries are ahead. The berries themselves are purple in colour.
Hmm. Let's see here. Can I identify these?
You may try. Yeah, it's an intelligence check. I imagine bushcraft of advantage.
All right, 19.
One moment, I'm going to roll a check. These, my Norman, are edible berries. You can pick them. You can eat them. And they
Alright.
will sustain you guys if you need them. I believe you do have some rations, but remember each of you has to eat one of those in order to stay alive.
I have no ration, so Norman's just gonna start shoveling them into his mouth. While he's doing this,
I just fucking realised the person who had the backpack is dead.
Yep.
So you
Yeah,
have
I was-
lost all of the stuff that you could have used because he is gone. This is a very telling moment, guys.
Yeah, I
Yep.
was actually thinking about that before as well.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about that for a minute there.
So you all
We're a
stand.
little boned at the moment, aren't we?
So Norman, I imagine you gesture to the party that these berries are
Yeah.
edible by shoveling them into your mouth. Would you guys like to do the same? I imagine your characters are quite hungry.
Certainly.
Yeah. After I'm done kind of shoveling these in my mouth, I want to try to find some like herbs to start putting into my little bushcraft satchel there. What's it called? Yeah, my little herbal remedy pouch.
Interesting. So I think looking for herbs, it's an interesting one. Do I have it be another intelligence check like everything fucking else, or do I have it be wisdom and actually give wisdom a little bit more of a purpose? Because wisdom is used for spotting, isn't it? Spotting
Yes,
things.
it is. I
So-
think you should do intelligence, please. Do whatever you'd like.
I might change my mind, especially if people disagree with me in the comments of this live stream, because I'm obviously really into peer pressure. But I am gonna have it be wisdom. Be a wisdom check.
All right, fair enough. Let's see here.
This is not,
Normally,
John, this is not 5th edition. This is Shadowdark, though it is quite similar to 5e in many ways. It's just, if I'm being honest, better than 5e.
I agree. 17.
17. So, let me have a look at what I prepared. Because, yes, I have prepared various things like that. I'd like you to roll me a D100, please.
Okay. That's a 1,000. There's a 100. Okay, 79.
Fantastic. So you start looking for herbs. Based on your roll, which was a 17, I will allow you to resupply your herb pouch by adding back 1, 2, 3 of your various remedies. You can pick which ones you'd like to replenish.
Is that how the... All right. Do I need to roll the DC for these, or
No,
do
no,
I,
no, no. So you have a bunch of different things that you can do, right?
Yes.
I'm telling you that you now have the herbs to do 3 of them. It's very simple.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
yeah.
so let's have a look at your sheet, just so people who are watching can kind of follow along. You haven't actually written down on here what they are.
I just have the ranger class open in a PDF.
I would recommend adding in your talents and spells section each one of them, just so you have it more, like, you don't want to be referring to a book every time you want to do something, and this is going to be a lot easier for you because it's not like rangers already have a lot to put in talents and spells. This is what this area is supposed to be used for, in my opinion. But I will allow you to resupply 3 of those remedies, and I think it's like 5 total, so you've got more than half back.
All right. Let's see here.
And you can choose that in a moment. So because I don't want to be sitting around waiting for you to figure out what you want to do. I will say you also find something interesting. You find pine needles, and they can be used to create a nutritious tea. It's very tasty. Whether you want to actually pick them or not is up to you. But that is what you've rolled. Pine needles. I'll put them in the chat. These evergreen leaves make a nutritious tea. What it says.
All right. Pine needles. Do those take up a gear slot, or are they just kind of something that I have?
I'd say if you collect them, it will take up 1 gear slot.
All right. Yeah. I grabbed the pine needles.
But it is it's a good amount. You could make a fair bit of tea with it. Alrighty, so figure out what 3 remedies you'd like to do, and whilst Norman is picking this, this stuff and collecting herbs for his pouch, I want to pivot over now to you, Duncan. What are you doing? How are you feeling? What's going on in your mind?
Well, he's certainly not happy about the circumstances, but he's alive. Duncan will, to do a bit of, if I may, a bit of a flavour here, he removes his leather cap to reveal to probably Isabel, because Norman's off doing his own thing, that Duncan isn't actually all that old. He's maybe not even 20. The lingerings of boyhood still sort of cling to his youthful eyes and lush hair. He then, sort of wiping sweat from his brow, starts looking around for a sturdy tree limb that he might be able to wield as a club. because he is proficient with the bashing weapon.
Sure. So, you now kind of root around, looking for something. Obviously, Isabel will have an opportunity in a moment to do something, but I will say that by the end of this jaunt, you manage to pull off a branch, and you now have an improvised weapon. It does a d4 points of damage. You may call it Tree Branch. Be aware that every time you swing it, there will be a 3 in 6 chance that it breaks.
Fair enough.
Isabel.
I want to see if there's anything that I can use to help Duncan, since he's pretty injured.
Right, so are you trying to find herbs?
I mean, I can help with that. I can try to make a I can try to use one of my like herbal remedies to try to create, which essentially will be an equivalent to a potion of healing.
Yeah.
Or I can just make a salve, which would be a lot easier.
Yeah, or I was thinking that like maybe I could like tear like the bottom of my shirt and like turn it into like a bandage and then bandage him up.
You'd be able to bandage them up. It would probably help with the bleeding. You guys obviously aren't aware of this yet, but I am probably going to have everybody roll who is injured. I'm going to have you roll. I'm not going to do this very often, but I think it's really nice for the first adventure. I'm going to have some of you guys roll like a con DC 9, and if you fail, then your wound becomes infected. You're going to gain another point of attrition. So bandaging and healing people is very valuable. Yeah, if you want to do that, you can. You start bandaging his wound. I'm not going to do it all the time, but I probably will prompt you and say, the wound is starting to sting. Maybe you want to do something about it, right?
Yeah. I'd like to make a salve to kind of just really put it on there and make sure that that it's not going to be get infected in any way.
So the two of you want to kind of help Duncan with this issue. That's really good, and I think that will make it so Duncan doesn't have to roll if you can both. Well, if you can succeed, I think Isabel, it's not hard to do.
The salve is also one of my herbal remedies, though, and it heals 1 HP. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm aware of what it is. I know how ranges work. I've had a few ranges in the one shots that I've ran with Loderick in the past. What's the DC?
DC's 11. It's the
All
easiest one.
Let's see if you can roll 11. You don't have advantage on this. It's just a flat intelligence roll.
Yep.
You got it.
15. There we go.
You make a salve, and that means you've still got enough ingredients to try again. You can keep doing it until you fail. I'm pretty sure. So you make a salve, you apply it to Duncan over his wounds, and then Isabel, you dress them.
Yeah, I'm going to try to do that for Isabel now, because she looks like she was hurting a little bit more than I was. So I'm going to go ahead and make another intelligence check. And I fuck it up.
And unfortunately, you do not have any more herbs specifically for that remedy anymore. The ones that you found, you've now used. But Duncan, I don't know if you have already done this, but the salve is 1 hit point. So make sure that you have added that to your character. You are feeling a little bit better now.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
I can try to make a curative though, still, which I believe.
You would be able to. You suddenly now hear the sound of orcs talking to each other off in the distance, shouting. You realise that they are getting close again.
All right, time to get moving.
Yep.
So, you are kind of in light woods right now, but you see that further afield it does get deeper and darker. Is that the direction you would like to go? It is away from the orcs.
I want to go that direction. I'm going to start moving in that direction.
Fantastic. So you do so, and you lead the way. So I'd like you to roll me an intelligence check with advantage because you are navigating the party through this woods. Whilst you're doing this, Duncan, what are you doing? What's your character doing as you're moving forward?
Well, to he's trying to not stretch his wound out too much and maybe just keep up as best he can, looking over his shoulder every now and then.
Very good. What about you, Isabel?
I'd like to imagine she's picked up like a tree branch and is like covering up their tracks as they're moving.
Very good. Roll me a... Well, actually, number one, very creative. Luck point for you. Number two, roll me a dex check. It's a stealth challenge. Actually, is that the... No. Intelligence. Intelligence. I think that's a learned skill that Isabel is deploying. I don't think that's just raw agility. If you want to use your luck point, you may do so. Otherwise, you may keep it for a later problem. Up to you.
Nah, keep it. Where do we put our luck points at?
There isn't, unfortunately, a slot for it. So you will just have to write it down on your sheet. I would keep it at the top of your talents and skill section. The very important details like your attrition and if you've got an inspiration or not, or sorry, a luck point or not, should really be there. I'm sorry it's not more simple. One thing you could do, Isabel, is what we do in my 5e games, which is that exactly putting the flag on your token. Can you guys see that on Isabel's token on the screen? She's put this little flag with like a black background to it. That's what we use in my games to state that somebody's got inspiration or luck, right? So that's a nice way of doing it as well. And then you just mark it off your token once you've expended it. So anyway, Norman, it's really tricky moving forward. It's very dark and quite spooky. You hear the sounds of birds around you. It sounds like crows, actually. And perhaps they are here to mourn your soon-to-be demise. Perhaps not. I'd like you now to each roll me a check. The check is going to be wisdom. It's an instinct to roll, each of you, to see whether you guys can work together for a change. Remember, everybody who's watching in chat, this is their second session together, and one of them has only just joined this group. So they are still catching their, trying to catch their feet. They're trying to work together, and you can see the rolls are coming in 6, 2, 17. Obviously, Duncan, there was a few moments back in that underground complex where you had to make difficult decisions for the betterment of the party, and you believe that undoubtedly was probably the best decision, as much as it hurts you, and you will probably take that to the grave. Your instincts haven't been wrong so far, and you now press on, trying to keep the party in good spirits. You now see ahead a ravine. It's a big crack that seems to block your way forward. It's long, but not particularly wide. It's only about 12, maybe 15 feet wide, this ravine, but it's too wide for you to run and try to leap over. We're not playing Baldur's Gate. You can't jump 30 feet. But there are trees nearby. There are rocks. And perhaps, if you try, you could always walk around it. But it will waste time. And the darkness above is getting harsher and harsher because the sun is now beginning to set.
Okay. So, if I may, do any
You may.
of the trees close to the ravine on our side look weak or dead?
You look at some of the trees, and a couple of them do look weak. They look like they could be manipulated if enough strength was used.
Well, Duncan will ask, he'll ask Norman first to keep an eye out. Me and Isabel are going to push this one over. See if we can't form a bridge. And then
Alright.
he'll ask Isabel to help him with pushing over this tree.
It will make a lot of noise. Are you prepared for that?
No, but
You want
Unless
an
any-
axe to help you with it? Norman hands him his hand axe.
You roll
Oh.
really well. You roll really well. Won't make too much noise.
all right. I thought you threw the axe. All right,
No, I didn't. I threw a javelin.
fair enough. Well, with the help of the axe, it might help keep it quieter, being able to manipulate it in a certain way so that it doesn't fall on too much debris. Isabel, are you willing to help?
I can help.
All right. So I'm
So,
going to give this a shot.
sorry, did not mean to interrupt. Are you gonna try and chop this down and then push it over the ravine?
Yes, yes.
Like a
that's what
bridge.
we're gonna do.
Alright guys, so I'm gonna tell you what's at stake here. Failure doesn't mean that it won't work, right? Because that doesn't sound very realistic. I feel like even if you're not very good, eventually it'll come down and it'll eventually do what you want it to do. Success means speed. It means that you will be able to cross, and you'll be able to cross quickly. If you fail this challenge, I will roll a check for a random encounter. If I roll a 1, 2, or 3 on the d6, the orcs will arrive. How many of them will arrive, you do not know. Are you ready?
As a level B.
You may both, or if all three of you are involved, strength check. Grit would
Right.
be useful in this.
I might as well help. I'm gonna take my axe and I'm gonna be like, give it to me. I want this. I'm gonna use it. Strength. Come on, where?
What the fuck is this? Oh,
I'm taking the average of your rolls. So, well done, Isabel. This may make the difference. 22 plus 4, 26. 26 plus 15, 41. Divided by 3 is 13.666666666, which unfortunately is not the DC that I set, which was 15. Because of this, I'll roll a d6. A 1, 2, or 3, another random encounter. 4, 5, or 6, I'll let you try again. DC will be lower the second time around because you've already made progress. Man, roll another strength check.
okay. I can't even.
16 plus 9, 25 plus 7, 32. 32 divided by 3, 10.6. DC was 9. Congratulations. You managed to bring the tree down, you create a bridge, and you guys now, well, unless there's any preparations you want to do, you walk over it.
Yep.
It will require a balance check from each of you, which is dexterity. Failure does not mean that you will fall, but it means that you may have to try and catch yourself.
Hey.
Okay, so Isabel, you
I'm
go
not
first. You slip. Roll me a strength check to try and catch yourself. You do. Manage to get to the other side. Norman, you cross without any issues. Duncan.
Yeah, he's sort of looking at it a bit precariously, I guess. I was trying to think of ways I could make it easier on myself, but
I will say, if you fail 2 checks, you're dead.
alright.
I know it sounds really brutal, guys, but it's Shadowdark.
Well, that's a fail.
It's a fail. So, you slip. Roll a strength check.
Mm-hmm. I imagine because Isabel didn't do it, grit doesn't apply. Doesn't apply.
There's not.
All right. Wham.
Oh!
You slip and desperately grab hold of the branch, but you actually hook it with your arms as you are falling underneath it, and you're just holding on for dear life, looking up. You realise, guys, you have mere moments to run over to Duncan and help him before he lets go and plummets to his death. I want all 3 of you to roll initiative. When it's Duncan's turn, he'll have to roll a check to try and pull himself up. If you guys act before him, you will be able to try and do something to help him before he has to do that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so first person is Norman. You see Duncan is dangling. What do you want to do?
I want to try to grab a vine or something that I can find and like toss it over to him. That looks like it might be able to hold his weight, like a sturdy stick or something.
Yeah, a branch. A branch. Yeah. So you
Mhm.
grab a branch and you gesture it down to him. This is good. This will lower the DC for the challenge for Duncan to kind of get himself out of this. Obviously, it's not something that will... You're not really interacting with him, he's interacting with you, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Perhaps Isabel has an idea of how she could interact with Duncan. Isabel, what do you want to do?
Seeing as stuff is already going on, I'm just gonna delay until after Duncan.
You can't delay. You either end your turn, or you
On
do
my
something.
turn, there's not really much I can do.
Okay. Duncan, it's now your turn. A branch has been lowered. This gives you advantage on your final check, which is a strength check.
Okay. Well, do or die time. I love these moments in D&D and role-playing games. Let's see it work.
You reach out, you grab the branch, and Norman pulls you to safety. A 17, the first roll is higher than you needed. You're good. A lot of relief. You hear the voices of the orcs, you realise you have no time to take a breath. You guys are now needing to run again. And as soon as you start running...
I want to push this log off the
Hold
side
on.
of the ravine.
Give me the hatchet real quick.
You want to try and break down the bridge.
No, I want to weaken it so that when they walk on it, it'll like collapse down and they'll all fall down into the ravine.
Yeah, I tossed her the hatchet.
Amazing. You both had the same idea. You both now... I mean, you already had a luck point, Isabel, but that was a good idea. I'd give you one right now if you didn't already have one. I'm going to give one to Norman. And yet, you guys now start weakening the tree, the actual whole log. You start trying to weaken the tree, chopping at it, and you believe that you have done enough. Just to see, roll me a strength check, Isabel, and I will set that as a DC for the orcs. See, maybe it will slow them down.
Great.
No. 12. Good. I mean, that's above. That's a DC. That's good enough. That's above average. Yeah, you weaken the tree, and you guys now get moving, and you've had no opportunity to take a breath, apart from when you were kind of applying the salves, and that was only a minute or two, maybe a few minutes maximum. I'd like another con check as we now approach night time, and we also approach the end of the session.
Let's... shit.
DC was 9. Yet again, you two gain 1 level of attrition. So, the night now comes, and you now begin to look for somewhere to rest. I'd like each of you to roll me a... Ooh. I'll allow the ranger to roll intelligence, because it makes sense as he's a wayfinder. I'll allow the rest of you guys to roll wisdom. It's instincts.
Nat 20, let's go.
What would be the perfect place to find right now that isn't a settlement in this woods? Would it be a cave, or an abandoned building, or
I feel like
a
it
big
would
tree
be-
that you can hide under?
That's what I was about to say. I'd be like a small hovel under some roots that's big enough to hold all of us, and just has a small inconspicuous entrance.
On a natural 20, it will be so. There is a hovel under a large oak tree that you have found. And you point and direct it to the party. You guys now, assumedly, all run into it. And as you now lay down or sit down in this hovel, we will end the session right there today, guys. But congratulations, 3 of you have made it. Hopefully not too far from civilization. Hopefully next session, guys, you will, if you survive, you will reach a town and be able to actually see what this world's all about. Rest in peace, Oswald.
Rest in peace, brother.
I'm afraid what the orcs will do with his body.
Oh no.
Lunch.
I'm sure that...
Probably.
Yeah, maybe. They might just put your body on display. They might use it to keep the other prisoners in check. Who knows what the orcs will do. But thank you very much, everybody who's watching the live stream. I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to join this campaign, or others like it, this is a part of like the Patreon premium stuff that I do with my channel. It does cost money per session, but if any of you are interested, all you gotta do is join the Discord and reach out to me personally and say, I want to join. I'm still looking for a couple more people for this game, so just let me know. Hope you guys enjoyed the game. We'll see you guys next session. Let's see where this story goes. We need your help. Isabel says it clearly. They need your help. Thank you guys. Have a good night. Let's end the stream.